the Block with Jen. That includes TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, On the Block with Jen at Gmail if you want to contact me for any reason at all. Okay? On the Block with Jen at Gmail. Throw your topics in there, your opinions, your suggestions. That's a little suggestion box, okay? It's not where you go in to ask me to marry you. Not interested. Okay? So, glad to see you here tonight, right? We're going to have fun tonight. Out the gate, I want to let you know the Christians got some splendid to do tonight. Yes, the Christians got some splendid to do tonight, okay? We're going to get to the bottom of this Ciara dress fiasco, okay? Ciara's dress is getting as much buzz as Jennifer Lopez's Versace dress many moons ago. Remember that Versace dress? The green one split down to the navel? Ciara's dress at the Vanity Fair Oscar party is creating that big a buzz. And I want to dissect that tonight. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you here, guys. All right? Hang on. Tonight's going to be fun. If you want to support the show without taxes, okay? Hit me on the Block with Jen and Cash App. It is scrolling on the bottom. If you want to throw a super chat in a comment so we can see it and throw it up on the screen and dissect it, if you want to rebut, contradict, what have you, do it in a super chat, okay? And my sights, right, clear up. I get 20/20 vision and I can hear perfectly when you throw your comment in with a super chat. Weird, I know, but that's what happens to me, right? My vision clears up. All right. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for the people who cash at me, even when I'm off the air, because you appreciate the content. Okay. I always say Cash App is for discretion because a lot of people, I say it over and over again, you don't want people to see where your money is going. Right. So Cash App is great for that. I don't blast your name unless you want me to. Okay. But thank you. I appreciate you. And that's why I always hit you back with that heart. So, you know, I got your Cash App. I appreciate you. All my widow heart. Because it costs money to keep the church lights on. We have church here, okay, all week long. So I want to get into this. But I can't do it alone, okay? I need my people up here. Chat, hold me down, okay? Let's get into this tonight. Let's get into it. I want to bring up that always lovely and talented, okay? We cannot do the block without her. Lily from YB Limited. Hi, Mama.
Hola.
Hola.
So, I think I may be in here from now on. I just discovered something.
What'd you discover? Share.
I can do the show and watch us on the huge TV at the same time and see the comments better instead of looking at it on my computer.
Oh, I'm jealous. I would love to have that set up. That would actually be awesome. Because sometimes I hate being distracted, but I want to, you know what I mean, see what the chat is saying so I can throw it up and they can be fully involved. But it's kind of hard to be like, right? So that's a great setup. It's probably the best setup, actually. Out the gate.
Last night.
Out the gate, Lily. Beat her. Ciara is a mom. She needs to calm down. Lead with your talent, not your body. Well, fuck, should I be dressed like this tonight, Lily? Should I be leading with my talent instead?
Well, I mean, the thing is, Jen, we all know that you love the Lord just as much as Ciara.
I do, though. I do.
You know, like, Big J is, we know that's your homie. That's Big Homie.
That's the homie. That's the homie,
know?
Okay. The long-lost BG brother, Jesus. That's what I call him, the long-lost BG brother. Lily, this dress is a big fucking deal. I had no idea this was going to happen. But before we get into the juice of that dress, did you hear Andrew Tate was denied release? Guess how many times thus far?
1, 2,
5.
Oh.
5.
I knew of 3.
I knew of 3 too. Did a little research. It's actually been 5, and he's also been denied bail. Tater tots, which is what I call Andrew Tate fans. You got some splaining to do tonight too, because your top G said if he ever got locked up in Romania, he'd just walk in with a stack of money like this, and they'd let him out. Tater tots, what's going on? Tater tots, top G is not getting out.
Did he
what's going on, Tater
tots? Stack, or did he not have the stack? stack or what the stack is going on here? Like, somebody tell, why y'all not over down to the Ukraine protesting to get your mans and them out? Like, hold on now. But I heard there was another twist. Somebody got out. It just wasn't them.
Oh, who got out? Do tell.
Oh, the people are saying that the two girls that was locked up with him, now they out. But he ain't.
What a coinky-dink. What a coinky-dink. Okay, so the two girls that went in with the Tate brothers, they are now out, right? House arrest, I believe. They're chilling at home.
And the Tate brothers show right now, probably on the block with Jen.
What's up, girls? Hey, girl. And the Tate brothers are turning back into the pumpkins that they are. Them guys look bad, Lily.
They do.
They look bad, man. The receding hairlines are back. The beards are back. Like, they look bad. It reminds me of a joke. I forgot who said it. I don't know if it was Chris Rock. I'm not sure. You remember the comedian that said the joke? Shout out to all the comedians, man. You guys have it rough right now, but shout out to comedians. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all.
Yes, we do.
We love the skill and talent it takes to be a comedian. Salute to y'all. But there was a comic, remember, that said if Michael Jackson were to get locked up, he wouldn't have like the Crayola people to put his face back together.
Right.
Remember that?
No. I don't remember that, but I remember thinking that. So I didn't know that somebody said that. But I remember thinking, like, okay, listen, if this man gets locked up, my only request is no pictures, please. I need to remember Michael Jackson the way that I remember.
Right.
I don't need him with no wig, no contour. Like, we're not doing that. I don't need the vitiligo showing, because that's not what we know Michael to do. Like, I need pale, ghostly Michael. I need God Michael. I need
cleft chin, right? Cleft chin, the little wig. You know what I mean?
Piece of baby hair right here. Like,
there you go. And that's what's happening. It's funny. That's what's happening to the Tate brothers right now. They look horrible. Okay, they look bad without their glam squad. All right, they look. I don't know why they're not giving that man a razor or a little buzz cut. They're giving them nothing. Okay, the Tate brothers do not look like, the top G's. They just don't. Okay, so they don't look like they own Bugattis. They look like they clean Bugattis.
So are you trying to tell me that they can't pimp these guards the way they've been pimping their audience all this time? Like, it's just, are you saying that the guards are slightly a little bit more smarter and less taken aback by their nonsense? Like, what is it?
They're not. Yeah, the paper is not, the Tate paper is not long in Romanian jail. Like, their paper is short, right? But I don't know. Again, I'm asking the tater tots, because you guys, right? We're told that his own mouth, verbatim, if I get locked up in Romania, all I got to do is walk in with a stack of money like this. They're going to do what I say. So I'm just wondering why they're still being held. No fucking bail. They got denied bail. And now they're going to be locked up to the end of March. So, right? Things that make you say, guys, if you know who that comedian was that said that about Michael Jackson, throw it in the chat. I forgot. I know it was a comic who said that. I think it was Chris Rock. I'm not sure. But he said if Michael Jackson were to get locked up and he didn't have the Crayola people to help him keep his face together, it'd be really bad. I forgot who it was. But it was probably Chris Rock. I'm not sure. I don't confirm. You can correct me if I'm wrong. You guys have better memory than I do sometimes. So yeah, that's what's going on with the Tate brothers. Surprisingly, shockingly, because he had me convinced on all those videos where he was talking about he can pay his way out of legal trouble. And he's fallen so far and so hard, and it's like, sometimes these guys, they mess up, but like the Tate brothers have fallen so far and so hard. Like, and then it's quiet. You could hear a church mouse peeing on a piece of cotton now. Cause I'm like, where are the tater tots? It's pretty quiet. It's quiet on the internets. It's quiet.
They fail to realize that these are humans.
Yeah.
These men are humans with what they do is these humans, they pick up their phone. Okay. It's real easy. Okay. They pull up the YouTube app. They set up an account. They set their phone up like so and push play. and you all worship him.
Ay, Dios mío.
It's the I don't know, the cognitive dissonance that goes on with some of these fandoms. I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is going to segue very well because there's an opposite with Miss Ciara. I'm starting to notice. Well,
ooh, let's get into that. First and foremost, there's so many. I didn't think that dress would have layers, Lily, but it has layers. I didn't know that it had layers. I mean, and it's not just the men. It's men and women. I told you guys backstage, women were like, see, all you women agreeing that Ciara should be wearing that are never going to be covered by a husband. I'm like, oh, wait, she's standing there with her husband. Then there are men saying, look at his face. He's not happy. Then I saw another woman saying, oh, I hope that dress doesn't cause trouble in their marriage. As if they're a fly on the wall in that marriage. But I digress because I have a lot of shit to say. Lily, what say you?
I mean, it was so many things. Like when I was, okay, first of all, when I saw it, I was just kind of like scrolling through this morning and I saw it, oh, cute, and literally did that, cute,
right.
And kept it moving.
Right.
Then I kept seeing it pop up. It was like, bloop, 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 just like that. And I was like, oh, this is a thing. Oh, okay. Well, let me see what the thing is. Let me go ahead into the comment section and see what the good people are talking about. And when I went into the comment section, I was seeing the exact same things that you were talking about. So then I was like, you know what? Okay, let's go ahead and call a thing a thing.
What's your take? What's your take? Because I know you had a different take on all that's developing with Ciara lately.
Yes, I feel like this is all Russell's fault. Oh yeah, I said it. It's all Russell's fault. Oh yes,
that's
because
different.
if he was married to a gentleman with that was less favorable, maybe a better rapper or something like that, but less palatable on the eyes, right? Not seen as a quote unquote simp, right? I doubt they'll even be talking about this girl. How do we know? Okay, I knew y'all were going to ask. So, let me see.
Thank you, Mr. Reckless. Thank you. It was Chris Rock. Thank you. It was Chris Rock. Yeah, it was Chris Rock. Okay.
Oh, shoot. Okay, I thought I had to pull it up. So even if I don't, I can just go ahead and say it. So there was another beautiful R&B singer a couple days ago, and you know what we're hearing is that her clothing line is not selling that well as to be anticipated. So you know this Beyonce said, you know what, fuck y'all hoes, I'm about to throw in a pair of thongs, turn around and bust it open, and hopefully I can sell a few more Ivy Parks, right? So get this quota up because they done invested. Think about how much money they invested in Beyonce.
Oh,
but that's you know, you get what I'm saying, and they're not getting. Then you know they're not getting a return in their investment. So Beyonce put them cheeks out, busted wide open with her little hat on, and called it a day. Her husband wasn't even there. So they could make that argument like, ooh, when Jay-Z sees this, he's gonna be mad.
And
right?
Lily, Beyonce's married, yeah?
That's
And she's a mother, right? She's a mother 3 times over, yeah? Right. 3 children. Okay, just checking.
So why haven't we been hearing about like where's the backlash for this? Because this is an ad, meaning this is to be used for promo. Yes. This is to be used if you're walking down 14th Street Union Square and you go by the Foot Locker and you'll see Beyonce's cheeks. Nice cheeks though. Very nice.
Yes.
In the window. You know, this is gonna be pushed as an advertisement. Ciara, she showed up to a party with her husband, full of adults, with a lot of adult things going on. But that's neither here nor there. I digress. So, yes. So what I'm saying is, like, what is it? Like, the hypocrisy at this point is so blatant, and I feel like a lot of it is based upon jealousy.
Ooh. Oh, we have another lady backstage. Okay, we're going to go in today. Fellas, if y'all don't come up, it's on y'all because the ladies are taking over the block. Hello, Chocolate Earth.
Ah, look at this beauty.
Well, hello, beautiful ladies. I saw you. I was like, I
Hello.
have to come up here.
Yeah,
Ah.
you must, because we are gonna break this thing down. Lily, I want to throw up a visual really quickly about hypocrisy. Yeah. Um,
Ooh,
Here's the thing that annoys me, and it's the internet, it's the worldwide west, I call it, right? It's not even the World Wide Web, it's the World Wide West.
exactly.
Right.
Yes,
Everybody got a microphone, everybody has a comment box, great.
honey.
What annoys me is that people run with an idea, they never do research. First of all, Ciara was at a Oscar after party. She wasn't at the
Mhm.
Oscars because a lot of people are mad, like, that's not appropriate for the Oscars. She was at an Oscar after party. Second thing, Lily, you know more than me. You're in fashion. Every year, there's some sort of buzz or fad that goes on at these parties. The stylists get wind of it. The stylists tell their clients, everybody's wearing red this year. Everybody's doing black this year. Everybody's doing
Right.
orange. Everybody's doing sheer. Ciara was one of many women that showed up at that party in sheer dresses. She was not the only one. Mostly all the women were on the red carpet at the Vanity Fair, at the party, very, very scantily clad, even less clothes on than Ciara. And then we have this. Since we're on hypocrisy, I have another visual for you. An interesting visual.
I like it.
So we didn't hear a peep about this outfit here, and I found it a little strange. I found it a little strange. Where is this lady?
It's always like that.
Yeah, I was like, we're not. What about Lizzo?
Right.
What about
Yeah.
what about Lizzo?
Mm,
I see nipples.
right.
Okay,
Girl, I'm seeing all the extras. I'm seeing it all. All
Many
with a pack of
things.
2-piece. I'm just seeing biscuits. I'm seeing it all.
okay,
Many
and
things.
be clear, that is also the Vanity Fair Oscar after party. Ciara
Yes.
and Lizzo showed up to the same party. The same party. And people say, well, Ciara's a Christian and her husband's a staunch Christian. Well, Lizzo's a Christian too. She prays to Jesus and thanks God when she wins awards.
Right.
What are we
Right.
talking about
Right.
here?
Little Kim used to thank Jesus when she was
I'm
winning an award
confused.
for sticking a
Well,
Sprite can.
if you ladies don't mind, here's my piece. It is called oppression. When you don't have control over anything else or yourself, you want to oppress. And so, what I'm learning is with this hypocrisy and a lot of these men and women who have decided to come together and be the police of what we wear, how we look, especially Black women, women of color. It is I find that people are fascinated and obsessed with women of color.
Mm.
The men are, yes, our men, no shade, my brothers, but y'all are obsessed with us. We thought it was, the palm colored people, but it's not. You're obsessed with us. Y'all can't help it. That's why the hypocrisy is so crazy. Like Ciara puts the song out about single women, right?
Mm-hmm.
Beyonce's last few albums have been triflingly nasty, right? But she's married. She has children.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, why would you make music this way?
Also refers to God a lot. You know what I mean? Thanks
Exactly.
God.
So this whole, but what I find interesting is, again, where's all this hubbub when it comes to the men who are in these events?
Oh, no, you're not going to go there. Now, you're not
Oh
going
yeah.
to do that.
Oh girl, listen. I got
please
my
do.
look, I got my warrior hair tonight, honey.
Okay,
It's on.
yeah.
It's on and popping.
Yeah.
I got my beads. We in it.
Because we don't tell the truth in America, so just be
oh, what you
careful.
talking about? What you talking about?
Be
Because I'm all
careful.
for it. I'm all for it.
You see, I'm wearing the outfit.
Right.
I'm paying ode to all the women that showed up.
Listen, I'm all about show. You want some of these shoulders? Because I'll give them to you 24 hours a day, baby. Look.
Oh, you fellas are in trouble tonight if y'all don't cam up. Feel free to cam up now.
If you want to have control, control yourself. But they can't.
Mm.
The majority of our country can't. We see that every day. We talk about sheep and we talk about following, but yet and still they all jump on the same bandwagon. It's a pick and choose hypocrisy. Where were the palm colored women? Were they also there? Because I know the Oscars aren't black owned, are they? Did I miss that?
There were a lot of, I didn't screenshot it and post it, I should have, but there were a lot of palm colored women in less clothing.
Ooh,
and I mean less. I mean nipple covers.
Exactly. I was going to say it probably was even. You know, I am. My sister was like, "Oh no, what are you doing?" Because I finished something big. I accomplished something. And I said, okay, this week I haven't been going live. So I was like, I'm about to go live. I got some topics. I got some things on my mind. And hypocrisy was definitely, it's at the top of the list. Because I'm tired of this game we keep playing. You pretend as though you're not sexist. You're not racist. You're not colorist. You're not fatphobic. You're not transphobic. You're none of these things, right? We're all just this big happy family and we love each other so much. Bullshit. Because see, the difference is they're not gonna say nothing about Lizzo because she's heavy set, right? But as if she was skinny, that would be another conversation. Ciara has been in the news because of the song. Because a part of the community that watches this hates the fact that this is a woman that went from messing with a dude that was trash to finding a beautiful black man that loves her son from a previous relationship. And then they have more children. And he's still with her. And he hasn't cheated. They haven't found him anywhere. Happiness makes people angry, as my mother used to say.
Can you say that again? Can you please?
Sure.
Say it again.
Happiness makes people angry. They get I gotta put it the right way. When you are that type of person where you're comfortable in your life, you're comfortable in yourself, no matter where you are in life, whether it's low, whether it's high, you come to a conclusion. And I say this for myself. Yes, there's certain things I want and wish that they were certain ways, but it's not. But I'm thankful for what I have. And that bothers people so because they can't rock it. So yeah, she's an easy target. She was a single mother, right? Then she got married. Black women don't get married. Not single mothers.
And you have to remember she dated men before. Remember, she wasn't, she had boyfriends.
Are you sure she wasn't a virgin?
She wasn't a virgin. She had boyfriends. And
no, wait. Are you saying she had a body count?
Yes, she had a body
count.
She had a body count, yes. And she was able to pair bond. For God's sake, she's pair bonding.
Lily, not the pair bonding too.
They said it would never happen, but she's pair bonding.
Shit.
This is why women like Ciara, women like Lizzo, women like Lupita Nyong'o, these strong presence, right, of showing that you can be happy with what you have, and that is irritating.
Yes.
You're supposed to be miserable like me.
Oh, I know.
Come on, don't be happy. You should tell me you're all right.
Oh my God. You should see my comments, honey. I know. People are perturbed that I am not miserable. They are perturbed. Like you see it. You see the vitriol. Like they want me to be miserable and angry.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
lonely.
Please. You're single?
Yeah. Why aren't you lonely and upset and sad? And
you like yourself?
Right. Like
you think you sexy?
Gotta be something wrong.
You look in the mirror and be like, damn, let me stop again, do a double take, turn around, let me look at this. Excuse me.
How dare you love yourself?
No one chooses to be single. Nobody.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Yeah, I got my ribs hurt. Okay.
You need to find out about that. I'm sorry, that was my sister. But
hey, sis.
what I find interesting is I was just having a conversation with another young lady, cool lady,
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking about hypocrisy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was on someone else's panel and they felt it necessary to disrespect me, not once, but twice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm a person that I'm like, I try to be really civil, as you see. I try to be very
Yes, you
ladylike.
do. I commend you. Yes, you do.
Thank you very much. But what I tell people all the time is don't let the baby face and the smile fool you. Okay. Because I do carry. All right. Just want you to know.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing is, you're bothered because I can walk away and be fine with never speaking with you again. Because I love myself more than to patronize or patronize. Sometimes I mix that up. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
A person who is pretending to be happy. So you can sniff that out. You on some bullshit.
Yep.
Because you're not happy with you. You got to take it all, the bumps, the rolls, the top, the bottom. If you got a long back, a big back, if you if
Not
you
the big
hang,
back.
you know, hey, it's a lot of women with big backs. Shout out to the women with the big backs, okay? But that is the truth. Like, it irritates people when you're comfortable in your own skin, because we are a society that has been taught to be mindless, to follow what other people say and do. And when you go against that or realize that this is unhealthy, oh, honey, they after you, pitchforks and all.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in this space, because you got a lot of men and women who find it irritating that you're comfortable in what you say, you stand on your square, you like, I'm working toward to be a better person every day. I don't have time to play games with you. Right. And this is why people like Ciara, women like Lizzo, we can pick so many that bother society as a whole, especially women of color. We're not supposed to be happy.
No.
I don't know. Do you guys ever watch The Daily Show? Do you ever watch that?
Sometimes.
Well, when one of the hosts, I can't think of her name, she's a white comedian, and I'm not sure if you guys saw that. Well, she put a sketch together that, thank you, Mr. Reckless, that said, I am single and my life is like this. So she did like all this stuff. She was a superhero. She got up first thing in the morning, just really exaggerating the fact. And it drove conservative news crazy. They literally ripped it apart and was like, that's what we mean. We need, this is insane. Why are you promoting being a single woman all by yourself and lonely? And all I could hear is just the vitriol and the pain. Right. Oh, you don't love yourself, boo-boo.
So what was she supposed to be promoting if she's, I mean, we're going.
No, you're fine, because I'm gonna land it there, because it's like, when you are pleased with who you are, there's always improvement. And no one ever says that you're at this place where everybody is like, I don't have anything that I want to fix or change. That's a lie. However, you don't allow that to dictate your everyday life. You go, okay, I'm gonna fix it, but I'm gonna do it my way. And I'm not going to be pressured by someone saying it or bringing it up or picking at it because that's what they feel is necessary.
You know what else is?
Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
You know what else is? What people find perturbing, right? Is that they don't understand when you not only like and love yourself, but when you have a relationship with yourself and your goals are your business. Yes. Right? They loathe that. Your goals have to be set by what society believes. You can't be single. You gotta be married. I'm like you said, Chocolate Earth, it's like my goals, where I want to improve, is a conversation I have with myself. They are personal goals, right? It's like Cat Williams said, self-esteem is esteem of yourself, bitch. Like it's not a group activity. It's not a group activity.
No, because you can't get away from you. No matter where you go, no matter who you with, who are you when the lights are off and you laying there by yourself, baby? That is what dictates how you get through your day to day. And
Mm.
I say that because this is a journey that I'm also on,
We're
where
all
I
on.
had to realize I was a people pleaser. You know, I grew up believing that this is what I should do. To your point earlier, you were talking about women being Christians.
Mhm,
Well, for me, and I know this may rub people the wrong way, but I don't think any religion motivates women to be who they are. Not one.
mm, mm,
Not one.
mm, 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 mm.
Um, that's why you're not gonna catch me affiliated with any of it, because I saw the oppression, because that's all it is. Let me control you.
Mhm.
If
Um,
we're so insignificant, then
mhm.
why are people so stressed to control you?
Hello.
And
Ooh,
I
ooh,
mean,
Hello.
let me tell you, it's in my mouth. I had to get it out.
Yeah.
ooh. So
It
let's
needed to
talk
be done.
about that a little bit, because a lot of the buzz I saw online was that, and I'll just read two that popped up right now in my community page. I have he chose the wrong one, like Will Smith, regarding Russell Wilson and choosing Ciara. He chose the wrong one, like Will Smith. Now he's living a confusing life. And then another one says, poor Russell. He got the beautiful, sexy woman he always wanted. Sadly, she has no sense of class or modesty. Right. She has no sense of class or modesty. So this echoes the sentiments that I saw all day and all night on Facebook. Women are now jumping in because women, right? Women are deathly afraid to not be this modest, married Christian, good lady. And I commend, and people are not going to like when I say this, I commend Russell Wilson for marrying the quote unquote fast, uninhibited, sexy lady who loves her body and loves showing her body and is a pop star. I commend him for that, because let me tell you what men normally do. What men normally do, okay? I showed her on earlier the married men that are texting me,
Oh God.
the
Yeah.
married men that are in my DMs.
Hmm.
Okay. There is nothing conservative about
Come
Jen.
on. Come
Nothing.
on.
Okay.
Exactly.
I don't talk it. I don't speak it. I tell you straight up, I don't give a fuck about your religion or your Jesus. I don't care. Don't care. Right. So I commend Russell Wilson and any man, right, who marries that type of woman. Because what happens is men usually marry that good, docile, conservative woman.
And then turn around and cheat on her.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And who do they cheat with? They cheat with the Ciaras, right?
Right.
And then the retort, because I know what you guys are thinking. The retort is usually, he don't marry her though. That's not who he married.
Not
Do you
true.
know, do you know,
Not
do you
true.
know that they think the woman getting the short end of the stick is the one that they cheat with, but the one that's really getting the short end of the stick is the one that's washing your
Yes.
ass. The one that you promised and vowed
Come on.
fidelity to.
Come on.
The one that you said, I promise it'll be me and you forever,
Please.
faithful till death do us part. Okay. And she's at home speaking life into you, because men love a good life speaker. Ooh, speak life into me, right? So
Necromancy.
you're doing all
Mhm.
of that. And if I'm the secretary at his job, I can have him. And I
Mhm.
dare you, and I can have them and send them
Yeah.
back to you wet.
And some of
Yes.
his coins.
Okay?
And some of his
Twisted.
coins.
Twisted.
That's it. Okay?
Twisted.
So all these men and women who are chasing the men and trying to be like, yeah, see, this woman literally said, you women agreeing with that Ciara could dress like that. That's why you'll never be covered by a real husband. She's standing there with her husband, ma'am. She's
Right.
standing there next to her husband, ma'am.
So you're
Your
saying
argument is
he
flawed.
didn't see her when she got dressed?
Right. Exactly. It's like they met there. He's like, oh, what are you wearing? Like what? Like what are they thinking this? What do they think this happened? Or I seen some like saying like he was
Girl,
like it was a
no.
humiliation ritual on him. Did you see that? I've seen people saying like that too, like, oh, that's nothing but against him. We should be praying for him.
Mm.
I'm like, he ain't never asked for your prayers. First of all, he don't even know who you praying to. So
Right.
why are you praying for him? Right?
Right.
But
Well,
I
because
mean,
he's the type of man that can deal with a woman who is within herself.
mhm.
Here's a man that married a woman who is a personality,
And they
a
exist.
human being. He looks at her as a human being, as as a partner, as a helpmate. They are
Mhm.
working together. I love how they pick and choose from the Bible and just try to use that to describe what your relationship should be like. I know plenty of hoes that's married, okay?
I'm about to
Mhm.
say,
And
and
they husband and they
meanwhile,
husbands be licking feet, working 2-3 jobs, making sure she ain't never gotta worry because he don't want her to go nowhere.
and meanwhile, you peek and pull back the layers of their life, the people who are
Honey,
dating, and I guarantee you, it's going to look nothing like what they're saying her life should look like.
Lily,
no.
I said to this man today, on Facebook on one of these ridiculous posts. I said, "Do you
Give me one
know
sec.
I said, do you know if I kick the doorknob off your closet, the fucking bones that would come out that bitch?
Right.
If I kick the doorknob off your fucking closet, the bones, the cemetery full of bones that will fall out your closet, and you're talking
Honey.
about this woman not being Christian like, and that's why I made that thumbnail, the evolution of Christians, because I think, first of all, and I don't give a fuck who doesn't like it, the worst people I've ever met in my life were Christians. Do what
I
you want
said,
with that.
I
Do
said,
do
Girl,
what you
don't get
want with
me.
that.
Don't
Do
get me
what you want.
started. Listen, you talking to
Do
a person who
what you
came from
want.
a family full of pastors.
me
Okay,
too.
so look, do what you want with that information. That is my personal experience. You can say some, not all, however you see fit. However, in my experience, and don't tell me, well, what kind of Christians you been around? Because I've been around all of them
The same
from
kind that
different
keep going
races.
to church every
from
Sunday.
from from different races, okay,
Honey,
because this
yes.
isn't race specific,
Nah.
okay, from
Okay.
different races. The Christians, when you look at everything from politicians to the corporate world to blue collar to
Mm-hmm.
family members to friends to husbands of other wives to wives of other husbands, okay, there's a woman in particular, let me tell you a story, okay. She
Mm-hmm.
didn't like me,
Let
I
me think about
cursed too much. She didn't like me. I cursed too much. She didn't
Oh,
feel I
That's
was
some
a good.
shit.
She didn't think I was a good
I
pick
love a good dirty word.
for. She didn't think I was a good pick for her
I don't
brother.
trust people who don't cuss.
Right.
I've
Um.
learned that. Mm-mm.
Come to find out, this same woman was driving cross country. This same married Christian woman was driving cross country to see her lover in prison, and her husband didn't know.
They pick and
Oops.
choose their
Oops.
sins. They pick and
Oops.
choose their sins.
And Lily, chocolate, I was like, oh, if you will not ever get in an argument, God save you. You better hope Jesus is real, because I'll fuck up your entire marriage with that
Okay.
information.
Let me
But
say.
she had an
Mm.
issue with me
Mm-hmm.
cursing too much. And these are Christians. Sorry, not sorry. These are Christians.
A
So
title is a title.
Ciara can't wear that dress, but you can sin every which way, right? Make it make sense.
And I have yet to be able to make that make sense because whenever they come after me, they always want to throw a Bible at me. And then I go to their page and they talking about fornication.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so they're talking about they sitting there smoking their blunt, drinking, all of these things, um, and it's just like where. I say this all the time. The most disrespectful religion that I've come across is the Christians. And I live in a neighborhood full of Muslims. And I'm talking about Muslim, like no
I know. Yeah,
English. Yeah,
I
like the
got
birth.
you. I got you.
And when I tell you, yeah, they might hate my guts,
Mm-hmm.
but I would never know it. They're the most respectful. they don't try to force their belief on me.
Mhm.
They
No.
don't try to change me. They
Mhm.
don't stare and point at me.
Mhm.
You know, they respect me as another human being, no matter what they believe in or
And that's
anything
all
like
that
that.
matters. That's all that should matter.
Mhm.
My biggest issue has always been, you are so worried about what I do betwixt my legs that you will watch a whole community crumble.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
You will sit and say you were leading, but you're leading me down to what? You'll tell me that what the problem is that I'm not submissive enough. I don't listen. I'm not willing to allow you to lead, but you
Mhm.
can't lead yourself out of a paper bag. But I'm supposed to follow you. But when I don't follow you, then I'm a masculine woman.
Mhm.
Then I don't understand. Then I need to go back to God. I need to do these things. And I find it interesting because I'm like, this long list that you've given, are you going to stop going to the strip club?
No. No.
Are you going to stop watching adult films online?
Oh my God. I told this guy that today. I was like, get back. I said, bruh, I said, have you ever watched porn? Have you ever looked at Halle Berry and thought to yourself, what that mouth do? Have you ever looked at your wife's body and thought, I wish you'd look more attractive? Have you ever seen a woman
Mm-hmm.
at your job and thought, I wonder what that would feel like if I smashed it? Like, so it goes back. I want to go back to this Christians evolving.
Mm-hmm.
Do Ciara and Russell Wilson represent two people who are God-fearing, who believe in Jesus Christ, who are prayed up, and yet still she can dress however she wants? Is this the new Christian? Is it the new Christians versus the old Christians? Is there a war going on? Is this the modern Christian? Is this couple modern Christianity?
Oh, that's an
Mm.
excellent
That's
question.
a great
So
question.
it is. Okay, so you got a lot of things going on. It is the modern Christian in the sense that I look at Ciara and Russell as a more honest, realistic Christian.
There you go. There you
Oh.
go. It is authentic.
It's authentic. They're humans
Mm-hmm.
professing their love for Christ
Mm-hmm.
and expressing their humanness in front of us,
Mm.
and letting us judge, us good Christians, which not me, I'm not, but you get what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
that's my thing. These Christians
Girl,
are the biggest
I
judges.
will step in. Hold on, I'm sorry. Me and my sister was just having this conversation because I always tell people, they'll ask me a question and be like, so are you judging? Yes. Why do we have judges? What the hell are you talking of? Everyone judges. Cats judge. Stop playing. I'm tired of the word games. I'm tired of the jump rope bullshit. Like, stop. Of course you judge.
Right.
That's why you're saying what you're saying about other people. Get out of here. Sit down.
This is right here is what I should have called tonight's episode: selective Christianity.
I do like that.
All day.
Selective
All
Christianity. And here's
day.
the thing: when people talk about, because the thing that blows my mind about Christian and other religions that are constantly a mouthpiece for God. Well, God said, and God wouldn't want, and God, like they give God this personality, and everybody writes a script for him. I'm like, last I checked, in your good book, your boy Jesus hung out with prostitutes and criminals.
Yeah.
Prostitutes, criminals, and traitors, of which he
We
had full
do.
knowledge. Of which
We
he
do
had full
believe
knowledge.
Mary
Okay.
Magdalene was
Okay.
his wife.
So he hung out with prostitutes, criminals, thieves, but yet a woman can't wear a sheer dress because she's gonna burn in hell because she's married. So make up your mind. Is God all loving, knowing, and whatever? Like, or should Ciara burn at the cross? Like, you have to make up your mind with sin, because let me tell you something. I'm not a religious person. I never will be. But if I was, let's say I was like, I'm looking for a religion because I need a God in my life. Christianity would be the
Woo!
last on my list if I was looking for a
Honey,
reason. the way people, and again, it's not race specific. Okay, I've been in all kinds of churches and shit. Christianity would be, from the outside looking in, would be the last religion I would touch. Again, the hypocrisy
Exactly.
is through the roof. It's
Through
through
it is the least
roof.
The least appealing. I think I'll throw on a burqa before I go to do that damn Christianity.
Child, don't even get me started. And that's what you were saying earlier. It's like my family on my father's side. My father decided, so my great grandfather was a pastor of a church, right? These were Southern Christian people. My aunt became a pastor. My uncles became pastors. But these are the phoniest people. They are just the worst. And when I call it diabolical righteousness, right? Because it's like, okay, I'm on her show. I'm on Jen's show. But then the minute I get off, I'm talking about her. Well, you know, I really like her, but I mean, I can't believe the way she talks. Oh, her outfits and her makeup. I can just,
And it's happened. And it's happened. It's happened right here. It has happened.
Girl, listen, I just got accused of talking about somebody in an accent on somebody else's channel. I am a grown ass woman. I ain't bothering nobody. I mean, literally, I ain't bothering nobody. And somebody come out of nowhere, though.
And you guys feel free to cam up. You have to cam up. Okay.
Yes,
we do conversations. Please. We do conversations with faces only. I dropped the link.
Yeah. But yes, I understand. I understand completely. It's disgusting that, again, we're talking about our whole country has decided all of a sudden that this pious purity of women, and it ain't just for us as women of color. I'm seeing this also too with our fellow palm colored women, that their men have decided that it's not enough palm babies, so we need to squelch this.
Not the palm babies.
You know, I ain't lying. They don't want the mixed ones. They don't count. You see what I'm saying? They don't want the ones that's got the you know, they don't want that, right? Sadly, though, we've come to a conclusion that women have always, and if, like you said earlier, people actually did research, men and women both, Egyptian women had more freedom. They were looked at as equals.
Equals.
They got paid the same. There were pharaohs who were women. There were leaders who were women. On and on and on. In history, you can see that those of us from the colored places in the world, we had a different idea of what men and women do. If you were a good hunter, you just was a good hunter. Whether you had a lady parts or man parts, it didn't matter. However, the leaders of the community were women. The majority of the communities of people of color were matriarchal. It didn't flip to the patriarchal until our palm colored friends decided they needed to start conquering and taking over. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there weren't men who felt it necessary to demean or take advantage. Of course, that's always the case. But when we look at what has been done and now what has been adopted in this country, it is a hypocrisy of sexual frustration and a hypocrisy of trying to make women bend to a will that's just not going to happen. And when women started fighting the suffragettes, everybody think, what you think these women was fighting for? They was fighting for the same thing we fighting for now. For you to get out my business.
It's very simple.
It's that damn simple.
It's really simple. especially when they are not the man in your life. Especially, right? The man in your life is the one that should have an opinion on what type of woman you are. But again, people think it's a group sport. Really quickly, thank you so much, Don Levon, for the super chat, darling. I see you. Mwah.
Do you think?
I
Oh,
do
Becky's
have
here.
I do have a gentleman backstage who is also bold to
Okay.
jump into this. Okay,
Yay.
Barracuda
Oh, well, this is
tank.
the perfect time because I have a question I want to ask the panel.
Welcome,
All right.
Alfred Douglas Ivy.
Well,
And I think this would be a
hello.
perfect time.
Thank you for joining us.
Hey,
You are
how you
so
doing,
bold.
He is cracking up. Let's go. I'm ready.
So I have a question. Do you all feel like the
I just clicked the link and yeah.
Well,
you all
hello,
have,
welcome,
some
welcome.
pretty powerful.
Feel free to
Thank you.
rebut.
Well, okay. So,
Is there a delay?
I think so.
it might be. Hold on. I don't technology, but the question that came up with selective Christianity. I'm a Christian for 100 years now, and
Say again. You what?
I just think I think it's just individuals. Hold on. Give me 1 second. 1 second.
Okay. All right. He was so brave to come up. I really want to hear him.
Yeah, I want to know what he gonna say. I'm ready to go.
So I have a
Okay,
question.
here.
Okay.
You want to try going out and coming back in? Alfred.
I like it.
I dropped the link again. Maybe you should try going out and coming back in. Because we do want to hear you. But we got to hear you.
Girl, I might have to come back. My shirt don't want to stay up.
Janet Jackson,
Right?
wardrobe malfunction.
Girl, ain't nobody trying to see this.
Yes, yeah.
Let's see if
Yes, he is.
let's see if he can come back up. You see, Don Levon loves us. He threw a little heart in.
Oh,
He threw a little heart in.
Oh, hey, Donovan.
that picture is too funny to me.
It's actually it's not funny to me. It's actually intriguing.
I can understand.
I'm like, is that you? Wait a minute. Is that you or a picture off the internet?
Did
I need this
is that
information.
digitally enhanced? I'm interested. You know what? And that's another thing too. I was a woman who thought, let's be in a relationship. I'm not that woman.
Mm-mm.
I like variety, like ice cream.
Yeah.
31 flavors. Ooh. It's just too many.
Can we hear you? Amen, chocolate. Alfred, can we hear you now?
I don't know. Can you?
Yes, we can. Welcome to On the Block with Jen.
Hey, Jen. You all are some pretty interesting and very distinctly opinionated sisters. This is it's been interesting. I'm like, whoa. But I wanted to make just one quick point when it comes to Christianity. I think it's an important thing to consider that not all of us are lumpable. You can't lump every religious person to, in one group, even if you've run into multiple people who have similar views. And I say that with all great sincerity because growing up, I grew up Baptist. I'm now within the AME church, but that time that I spent in between, I traveled to a lot of different churches. Saved, Sanctified, Kojic, Catholic, Living Word, and I used to say, y'all church folk are crazy. That's
But somebody has something. Do you have something on in your background, Alfred? A TV, a video? There's something going on in your background.
Okay. I just had, it was something in the background.
But thank you. Okay.
And so I had the similar view of, church folk are crazy people. And I
Mhm.
would lump everybody together. And
Mhm.
then over time, I said, that was unfair to my spirit to lump all Christians into the same box, because not everybody is the same. So going
Mhm.
back to the situation with Russell and Ciara,
Mhm.
I showed the photo to a couple of people. Nobody
Mhm.
had any problem with it. I was saying, I say, if you got it, flaunt it. I look like an
Mhm.
old man now, but I used to be an athlete back in the day. So when
Mhm.
I could be naked, I was naked. 'Cause,
Okay.
well, and so long as you could, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. And not every Christian, and you got to understand the people that I communicate with, of course, they're Christian as well. Not everybody
Mhm.
had any outrage about her outfit, just as much as not everybody was outraged about Angela Bassett not winning the Oscar. We say, hey, it
Mhm.
happens. We need to do our own thing, and I think that's the challenge that we face.
Mhm.
Is when we think about everything, male female relations, Christianity, blacks in America. Um, we want to create this group like everybody's bad who's part of any particular group, and it's just that's not the case. So I
Mhm.
did hear you all, and my thought process like, wow, I'm like, somebody got to say something, like every person that go to church ain't evil.
No, no,
Well,
no.
that's
we
that's why that's why I do this, Alfred. That's
Right.
why I do this,
right,
right? I'm being facetious
right.
when I do it, but that's why I do this. The problem I have with, and I'm glad that you came up to be the opposite side of what we were saying. I totally appreciate that. The issue that I have is that there's always, a not all some, but we speak. What? Let me speak for me. I speak in
Okay.
absolutes and generalizations, and I make blanket statements, which people hate because I deal with the majority. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm 49 years old. The majority of my life, when I've run into a Christian, they weren't very nice people. They were the
Mhm.
most judgmental. Okay. They were the most sinning folk because, they have this umbrella of, well, only God can judge me, sis. Okay. So it gives them this cloak of, what I mean, this protection of I can cheat, lie, steal, rob, kill, molest, because at the end of it all, only God can judge me. And when you give someone, okay, a pass for sin and for evil, what you create is a dangerous person, in my opinion. I like
Nope.
teaching young children. I like teaching young children about repercussions and consequences. I think it's more useful than saying you can do what you want because only God can judge, honey. You know what I mean? That to me is dangerous because it gives, you raise someone under the impression that I can do what I want because at the end God's going to judge me and I'll do a couple good things in church. And that, I'd rather raise someone with repercussions and consequences, the knowledge of repercussions and consequences. So I've seen Christians do horrible things in the name of God and Jesus. That's my issue with the religion. So, it's like, and I'll throw it back to you or to one of the ladies after I say this. It's kind of like when you say not all cops are bad. Well, not enough good cops are stopping the bad cops. So it doesn't matter that there's a precinct with 2 good cops when 20 of them there are shooting people who are unarmed. It doesn't mean anything to me. It sounds nice and I appreciate it, but it means nothing to me if the majority of you are fucking foul. And I'll pass the mic.
So this is my thing. Whenever I make statements saying the worst out of all religions that I have met is Christians, what people hear is all Christians are bad. No, what I'm saying is when I put it up against the atheists, the Jewish, the Christians, the Muslims, the questioning, it's out of all of those groups, there's something that's in common. Now that's not saying that every single Christian that I meet does this thing. What I'm
Mhm.
saying that every time that thing comes up, which is self-righteousness, which is the like that's self-righteousness thing. And let me qualify myself real quick. Real quick. I was raised by my parents have a church, okay? So I am technically a PK. Poetic justice. So and I used to work in the gospel music industry, which means I traveled to churches in and out of this country, all over the world, and I was in the streets living a double life, just like they were. And what the biggest thing that I knew, the biggest thing that I took away from that entire experience, because that shattered my whole belief system, mind you, was that I saw way worse things in the church than I did in the streets. The only difference is they didn't lie about it in the streets. They were straight up about their shit. And that was the issue that I had. And so then that's when I started to realize this is not about God. This has nothing to do with God, right? This has everything to do with ego. And a lot of these things, because if it really had anything to do with God, I'm gonna show you what it looks like. If you don't believe in walking around with a sheer outfit when you're married, don't walk around with a sheer outfit when you're married. Because the thing is, it's about you. If you believe in that, then the only person that needs to be practicing that is you. We don't get the license or the liberty to hold people accountable for what we say we believe. Because just like there's Methodist, Pentecostal, and all of these other, we don't know what their set or what kind of Christians they are. That's between them two. That's between Ciara and God. That's between Russell and God. That's between that couple and God. That's not us to police that. So that was really my biggest issue. And it seems like when it comes to things like this, people like to deflect from what's going on in their life and where they're falling short at, and try to find a problem with someone else's. And it's usually, and it's going to be someone who's deemed usually prettier or richer or more liked, successful, all of those things. So I pass.
Let me say this before. Oh, wait, we have another guest. Hello, darling.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? What's up?
What is going on? Welcome to the panel. I'm loving this. I want to say this. There's also currently, I have a preacher, minister, bishop, whatever, in my DMs right now. He's been asking me, he's been offering me money and, wanting to see my feet, my body. He wants to know how much it would cost. I mean, consistently right now. And if anybody wants the screenshots, I will gladly send them to you. Now, I will erase his name, right? But you can see his face and his pictures and things like that, because I'm not trying to fuck with anyone's bread and butter. I just want to show that this guy has a huge congregation. He has been in the newspaper in his town. This is not some small preacher just, reading the good book in your friendly neighborhood church. Okay. This is a big time minister, preacher, huge congregation. And this is what he is doing. He is a Christian, right? And he is in my DMs, still asking me. Right? Still asking me. As a matter of fact, I posted his screenshots before on my Facebook. So if you follow me on Facebook, you can see this guy, right? So this is the type of behavior that I'm talking about, right? When someone can be that far up in religion and Christianity and not give a rat's damn that somebody may blast him, there's something wrong there, right? Because if I was a different type of woman, I'd be like, okay, bitch, watch this. Right? And I can blast him, his name. I could contact people in his congregation. I could contact his church. But I'm sure in his mind, he's thinking the flesh is weak and only God can judge. Right? This is the type of shit that I'm talking about. With that, I will pass the mic. Hello, No Saint. Hello, NYA. What should we call you, sir?
NYA. That's right.
NYA, okay, NYA. So I will pass the mic. I see No Saint well oiled.
I see. Like, I wouldn't just say he was killing me. I'm trying to listen to you. All I see is this man in this glass. Like, what is going on here? You selfish. You should be sharing.
The unit blew up last night when I was at work. So it's like.
What happened? What blew up?
The central air.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not in New Orleans.
That's not a small. Well, luckily it's not bad right now. It's not humid. It's cool. But yeah, it's nothing. It's not something you can live without.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you have anything on the topic yet, or are we passing the mic? No,
I'm listening. I'm passing the mic real quick. I want to listen and.
Could
Okay,
I respond?
NYA.
To the new people.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'll wait.
NYA, I want you to because you got here, I want you to say your piece. But Alfred, I know you got a rebut for me. But NYA, I want you to go first.
Oh,
Alfred is like, I gotta get.
when it comes to Ciara, I just think she suffers from what like the Chloe Bailey and like the maybe even Ayesha Curry's of the world. Like they all suffer from this thing. So it's like when it depends on who you're with. Like you look at Steph's image. His image kind of mirrors that of a Russell. You know what I'm saying? Like he take his shirt off, there's no tattoos, out here being Jay Warrant, you know what I'm saying, as we call him now, that he not out here being Jay Warrant, you know what I'm saying? Like he just living his life, you know what I'm saying, being fly. But like when Ciara was hanging out with Megan Thee Stallion, they were hanging out, they were both twerking. It was like maybe 2 years ago. Everybody they was on the ass. She dropped a single about a year ago, and then she posted a picture with like some jeans and like the ass cheeks of it was like, torn out. It was like rips on the ass cheeks.
Like Beyonce's?
They tore up, they tried to tear her up then, and then she dropped a song, she dropped the clip, all my independent single ladies, you know what I'm saying? You don't need no man, and everybody on the internet. They tore up like, oh, look at you, living in your rich husband's house, talking about how women don't need no man or whatever. But it's like, it's the same thing, like Rihanna does it, Beyonce does it. But like I said, she suffers from that thing where like Ciara, she do anything that don't fall in line with like whatever they think that, a woman's supposed to be. And it's like, they just hop on the ass like every single time, and that's just my initial take on when it comes to Ciara. Like whenever she does something like this comes up. So with the outfit, they jump on it, even though, like you said, I heard we were talking about it earlier when you first got on. It was a gazillion different people that were at that party. Wherever the Oscars was going on that night. It may seem like she was at the Oscars, but she wasn't. She was just at a party.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of other people that maybe nobody care about, and it's not going to lead to no clicks and no comments, that were all dressed in similar ways and didn't have no man. You know what I'm saying? Like she had her husband was standing right there, next to her. You know what I'm saying? It's not even like he wasn't there, and we can have this whole speculation like, he not there because he probably don't like that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't there because he didn't want to, face it. She didn't like what she got on. Like, that wasn't even that wasn't even the situation. Like, he was standing right there next to her. And that's kind of
this lady did try that on Facebook. She was like, well, I hope this outfit doesn't cause a rift in their marriage. And he doesn't post her like that on his Instagram. So he must not like it. Never mind, he's in the NFL. They have a certain way that they present on Instagram and on different social media and all kinds of shit. But the issue I have with, and Alfred could respond to this or whoever, the issue I have with Christianity, specifically in the selective Christianity and selective outrage of the Christians, is that they think that, okay, only God can judge, right? But for some reason, they live vicariously through this God that he's the only one that can judge, and they judge everybody. Like, why can't you worship this God and his belief and what he thinks and what he supposedly said to you for you to do, right? Without you playing God. Because in my opinion, you're trying to be God as well by judging what everybody should and shouldn't do. And how is it your fucking business if only God can judge? Who the fuck are you to be, quote unquote, God walking earth? To say what people should wear and not wear and do and not do, and when they should have sex and when they shouldn't have sex, when you're all out here doing the same exact thing, and you're very sometimey and picky and choosy and, custom fit about the Bible. What is it with Christians that makes them so fucking judgmental, but they hide behind, well, God doesn't want this. So let God decide, right? A judge decides what's good and what's bad. Why don't they leave it in God's hands? Why do they sit in the church like, you see what she wearing? Why does that happen? Ain't she married? I'll tell you, girl. What is that about, Alfred?
Our resident Christian.
So herein lies. Here's my take on that. And Jen, I've responded to your stuff a lot of times over the years. So
I thought you were fat. So it's good to see you, Alfred, because I haven't seen you in years. Like I didn't know what you look like. We speak on Facebook, and I thought you were a fat guy. I didn't know.
You thought what?
Yeah, but I swear.
Like, hold on. I ain't
No.
fat.
No, I thought you were
I
fat.
can't breathe right now. Like,
No, because
stop,
you know how.
please.
Listen, you know how your mind just makes up what somebody looks like, and you've never seen them. I've never saw him.
I love you, Jen. You make me laugh so hard. I can't. Okay, go ahead, Alfred. Because I really do. I have so many questions for the gentleman on the panel. I'm itching. So go ahead, Alfred. Go ahead.
Okay. So, in criminal defense, we oftentimes are doing, we don't really do a whole lot of research, but we read the research. So take any given community. Any given community, out of 100 people, you have maybe 5 of them max, and literally it's like 2%, but I'll give you 5. 5 of them out of any given community who are bad people, okay? But those 5 people terrorize the mess out of all of us. So let's take that and let's put it with Christianity. So when you run into people who are bad Christians, because you ran into all 5 of those bad Christians, because I live in the city of Chicago. So in Chicago, I live in a neighborhood where those 5 bad people, they like down the street from me, so it feels different when you're in the place where the bad stuff is happening. And so if you come into contact with Christians who are judgmental, and you got to understand people are judgmental, period. But when you come into contact with people who are judgmental and then they identify as Christian, I don't assume that, like you say, some and not all. I don't assume that everybody who identifies as Christian, because if you read it and want to pay attention to what it means to be Christ-like, it almost by definition means that you're not supposed to be judging other people. I tell anybody, you go do you over there and leave me alone over here. I clap cheer, but I don't join in. And so that's the way I look at things. And that's where most of the Christians that I've been blessed to come into contact with over the years, after I got over being judgmental of other Christians, because I felt like you, Jen, like, man, y'all the devil, I don't know how y'all go to church and not get set on fire, That was because that's what I saw. But then I recognized that I was in the wrong space with you can see?
She saw me.
I guess you could see you.
I was looking at No Saint Son. Who's that? Your wife? Is that your wife? Alfred, is that your wife?
Yeah.
Hi.
Yes, my wife just walked.
Yeah, okay. Hi, Mrs. Ivy.
and so, and so I ran into bad Christians over the years, and I had to get away from feeling that all Christians were bad, because I ran into bad Christians. And when you move away from bad people, you see that there are really good people in this world who actually care about the same things that you're talking about. And we don't spend our time judging. We spend our time raising our children the exact same way that you say that you are, about the difference between consequences and blessings and how you're supposed to move in the universe and what's your place. And so I'm not trying to change anybody's view. Okay. I'm not trying to argue against anything you're saying. All I'm saying is the same thing that we tell our children. If you got a problem, change your environment, change your circle, change the people that you're around. Because when I changed the people that I was around, I found myself more mentors. I used to tell people, say my best friends are over 70. It's crazy, because they move differently. They speak differently. Your engagement with people changes. And so I've been blessed to come into communion with good Christians. We like literally we all raise our kids the way you talking about educating kids, Jan. And so I'm happy to report that as a Christian, I don't have a frame of reference for all these bad Christians that y'all talking about anymore. I did, but not anymore. And like I said, I don't know anybody who was upset with what Ciara had on. We did have a comment about this one lady who had like a band for her.
Yeah, she had
top. We did not.
She was covering her nipples only.
That invited some conversation. I was like, that one was over the top. Ciara was fine. But I'm not gonna judge that lady. I just was like, I don't know who dressed
But you did judge,
Yes.
Alfred. But you judged. You judged. And it's like, what and let's talk about it, Alfred. What made you judge her and not Ciara? Is it just because you like one more? Again, let's not shy away from the hypocrisy. One was covering her nipples, and one had the complexion. We've all seen it. The ladies have seen it. The complexion covered nipple covers. So one was covering her nipples with those nipple covers, and the other one was covering her nipples with a band. What's the difference? Who are you to judge her? Who are you, Alfred? Who are you and your little good Christian friends to judge her?
But see, I think I've been telling people lately, and I do apologize. I do speak in by analogy a lot of times. I say not all jealousy is hate. I say sometimes I look at people and I see what it is that they're doing. I'm impressed by it, and I'm saying, man, I'm jealous. I want to get to the way they are. I want to be where they are. I'm not hating on them. I just, what you got, I want some of it. And so when I think about it by analogy to Ciara versus the other woman, I don't really feel like it was a judgment as much as if I were to look at like my wife, she's really, really pretty. Like I don't know why she's with me, but it's always you got an average guy with a fine woman be like, hey, pull it off. Let's keep it going.
No saint can relate.
But I can see her wearing what Ciara had on and looking good. You got to understand, my wife's a minister, so she would never wear it, but she would look good if she did. But I couldn't see her wearing the broad band. And so that was where I went with it. It wasn't like I judged like, oh, you're a nasty person or anything like that, or God's gonna, send you to the lake of fire. I mean, if God cared what we wore, then she should probably be upset with me the way I used to dress back in the day. I had some lake of fire waiting for me because I used to wear tank top, weight belt, and short shorts because I was one of them gym rat type of guys back in the day. And the image that you got, that was it. That was it right there. Yep. I saw your face. I saw it look like, really? Did you wear that? Yes, I did.
Do you think that religion, Christianity specifically, is oppressive towards women?
Yes, it's moving. It's moving. Like I said, my wife is in the ministry, and and I grew up Baptist. In the Baptist church, by and large, I won't say all the way, but by and large, it's difficult for women pastors to get assignments in the Baptist church because people don't want that. But in AME church, the movement is there. Sisters are shaking up the universe in terms of being preachers. And I will confess this. I was very concerned with women in the ministry because I did grow up very, very traditional. And
they weren't allowed to wear pants. Is that correct?
Oh no! I mean, women were wearing pants for a long time.
There's some. I don't know if it's
saved and sanctified.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Baptist or not, but there's
Kojic, Church of God in Christ.
Yep, Kojic.
Well, there's other ones though. There's other. I don't know. There's other ones.
Now Pentecostal, I know they don't wear pants.
Kojic, and I think some Jehovah's Witnesses when they go to church.
Yeah,
they're like that too. But not all.
I messed around with them too, them Jehovah's Witnesses.
You lucky you got out.
My grandmother was the best when it came to Jehovah's Witnesses. She would invite them in. And so I learned from her. If you ever want to talk to somebody about religion, just talk to them. And if you know your stuff, they'll let you alone. They'll let you alone. People want to talk to folk that they can
or I'll give you another one. When we were in Michigan, we were going to a concert and we needed babysitters, and there was this Jehovah's Witness hanging around, I think. Anyway, make a long story short, that she came over. I forgot what for. And my sister was there with her girlfriend. Yeah, she left us alone after that. She never came back. I'm like, that's kind of disingenuous. She was hanging out, trying to, bringing the kids stuff. And we had no intention of joining or anything, but I was like, that's interesting. She never showed up again. I was like, All right.
Yeah, there goes the whole "come as you are" thing again.
Yeah.
There goes that out the window.
I was like, if I would have known that was
Honey,
great.
But
I do have a
think,
question, if that's okay.
go
Jan,
ahead,
if that's all right, I had a
go ahead.
question. The gentleman that is down in the corner from me, I apologize, I'm not sure what your name is. The gentleman with the hair.
Both of them have lots of hair. Both of them. All three of them
the
have
one
hair.
with the bun. The one with the bun.
Okay. Alfred.
No, him right there. You just raised his hand.
NYA. Okay, NYA.
NYA. I had a question, and Alfred, I'll pose it to both of you guys.
Okay.
I heard you say the way you worded it about she suffers from the same thing. When I hear the conversation of it, what is it actually that they're suffering from? Because it just seems like to me that these are just women who are comfortable in their bodies and wearing what they want to wear.
Oh yeah, I was curious about that too.
I find it interesting that you worded it that way, because pious or modesty or any of those things are, again, subjective, right? To your point earlier, my father was also a practicing Muslim. So like the majority of my younger childhood, I was practicing Islam. I had to dress from head to toe. I was raised that way. I was raised in that. And to your point, Alfred, I was also a Baptist as well, because I was baptized. We went through the whole thing. My father switched. He loved religion. Okay, I'm just gonna say that. He introduced us to everything, which it was a catch-22. But what I find interesting when it comes from the perspective of men, especially Black men, why do you feel that you need to describe it that way, in the sense of piety and modesty and all of these things that truly came out of a time that is no longer here? A woman is not defined by what she wears, but yet it's still, the perspective is still given that way, that, you know, Russell made a mistake, or this woman is having an issue, or so on and so forth. Not ever does it come to the forefront that she's comfortable in being who she is. And I just wonder if you guys ever think of that. And that's one part of my question. And then the second part, and then I'll pause there. When you say about not all Christians, on and on and on, I'm not sure, and I'm not going to assume. I'm a news junkie. I'm heavy into politics. If Christianity is such a positive, then why are they using it to dictate what women do in this country? Because the only reason, I'm sorry, say it again.
As a weapon?
Yes.
They're using it as a weapon?
Yes, because the only reason Roe versus Wade was reversed was due to Christian values. That's why the evangelical Christians, they have power as to who may or may not be president, or senators, or Congress people. So I wonder about that when you speak to they're not all bad and it's an individual thing, which isn't true, because it's the hypocrisy of, you cannot use the Bible, then turn around and say, well, as women, we need to control you all, because that's what's happening. So that is my, you can answer it however you like. I just wanted to offer those pieces. Thanks.
Hey, okay. You started with me first. And when I say suffering from, I'm not speaking of a condition with them. I'm saying it's this thing on the internet where when I say suffering from, is like, no matter what they do in the public eye, the public always like bashes them. Like, let's say, like I said, Chloe Bailey, she does a song with Chris Brown. Everybody it turned to a whole thing. Even Chris Brown had to say something bad. It turned into a whole thing. But any of the other girlies do anything with Chris Brown, it just comes and goes because they don't like her. And that's what I mean. Like, they don't like Ciara. So no matter what Ciara does, like, it's all, they always make some of it. Like Chloe, she do the same thing everybody else do. As soon as she do it, it's a thing because they intentionally don't like her. It's certain people on the internet that the internet doesn't like. So like whenever you do something, it's gonna always be in that direction, like every single time. So I watch the stories break out and you see certain people, it's like, okay, it comes and goes, you know, everybody's on their side. And you got certain people that, you know, like overall, like the consensus on them is that people don't like them. So, you know, they could have, you know, they could have did anything. They could have gave away food and people gave away, you know, they could have gave away food to the homeless and they'd have been like, oh, that bitch ass nigga, he was only doing that because he wanted people to think that he such and such and do think pieces on it. It'd be like, it's just because y'all don't like the brother, you know? And that's what I meant with the Ciara thing. Like, they just don't like her. So like I was naming different examples. She do the same thing that everybody else do, but they put the negative thing. It's just Lizzo. Lizzo is the same. I look at Lizzo the same way too. Like they don't. Meg Thee Stallion, this whole Tory Meg thing got everybody. They don't like her. So no matter what they do, it's like it's gonna always be an issue. Nobody's gonna ever try and like see it their way. That's what I meant when I say suffering from. It's suffering from the people on the internet world that is certain people that they don't like. So everything that person do is like terrible, you know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna get bashed for it.
Okay.
I see it happen to people every day, every single day, and I just like, oh yeah, I see who people like, and I see who people don't like. When the internet don't like you, that's your ass. You know.
Is there a backlash on Pretty right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
You said backlash.
A backlash on
Pretty. Now all of a sudden, you know, our pretty privilege we need to acknowledge, but I'm still broke, so I'm working on that.
There is a backlash. I speak about that when I'm talking about cancel culture, right? It seems like they only try to cancel people that are beautiful or wealthy or have more than the average person. When a regular person says the most derogatory things regarding race and gender and things like that, no one bats an eye. But if the person who said it is rich or attractive, then there's a witch hunt for that person, because you can't be rich and attractive and have an opinion now. We can't have that. So it's almost like it's revenge of the have-nots. I want to tear you down if you have an opinion and you're wealthy or you're attractive. No. You cannot have an opinion if you have those two things, right? But let's say, you know, somebody like, I don't know, Flavor Flav having the same opinion. Nobody cares.
You're right.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares if he talks about, you know, I mean, religion or gender or women or the LGBTQ. Or they don't care. Flavor Flav said it. But let Michael B. Jordan say it is going to be hell to pay. It is going to be hell to pay.
Right. It's so true. It depends on it. Yeah. I would love to hear what Alfred had to say, because I don't want to negate that, because Alfred, you're not getting out that easy.
Well, you know, it crossed my mind.
Listen, I'm the queen of that. You ain't gonna get me with my move now. You ain't gonna get me with my move, because I'll try to do the moonwalk and like hopefully sometimes, you know, like maybe they'll scoot on over to the next side. Nah.
So again, with my stories and analogies, and I'll tell you this one. So years ago, I ran for office, and people were posting all of this negative stuff about me on the internet. You know, I don't even know if we can even find most of it anymore. I haven't looked for it in years. And I wanted to respond. And my dad, you got to understand, I'm from Chicago, but I got Mississippi roots. So Mississippi folk, we way different than a lot of other folk. You know, when people say, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Like, your opinion really does not matter to Mississippi folk, really, really strong. So my father, you know, he came to me and I was telling him how upset I was about all this stuff.
Are you generalizing about Mississippi folk?
Oh
yeah, because I'm down to my socks. So yes, I'm gonna generalize about how cool Mississippi folk is.
But we can't generalize about Christians. Okay, well, continue, Alfred.
I was gonna ask you in a second to hold up your some not all sign.
Okay. All right.
But so my dad told me, he said, whose opinion are you going to change by responding to this? And I was like, well, what do you mean? I was like, there are people who are watching this and reading this stuff that they're going to think that this is true. He's like, is it true? I was like, no, Dad, it's not true. It's not true at all. I said, but that's the point. You know, somebody needs to speak up on this. He said, it's not true. And the people who know you, love you, like you, know it's not true because they've seen you. They've seen the work that you do. It doesn't matter to them. And the people who are going to believe it, they wanted to believe it, you know, and that's what it was. So I never responded. and it went away. Never responded. And so I think to NYA's point about people getting torn down, that's because people respond. You know, they go back and forth on this stuff. They make it a big to do. But if you ever notice how rich people respond, other than Kanye West, they don't. They don't respond. They don't
Other than
respond.
Kanye.
Yeah, other than Kanye, they never respond. They be like, oh, you know, forget you. What do you matter to me? Like, you know, people put out all this stuff out here and they say we're gonna cancel them or whatever. How you gonna cancel me? I got 1 million followers. Like, you're not gonna cancel. You can cancel Alfred Douglas Ivy, but if you cancel me, will I really know it? Because I ain't nobody. Like, you know. And if you try to cancel somebody famous, would they really know it? Like 30,000 people quit, you know, some YouTuber's channel. But he's still a famous YouTuber.
Right.
Like, maybe do some advertisement and move for you. So we make a big to-do about people's opinions when the people themselves don't care about our opinions or care about those opinions. Like, they still moving around. So that's to that point. And to the Christian point, hey, Miss Chocolate Earth, I understand, because I have felt that same level of outrage when Roe v. Wade got overturned. And it just started the domino effect across the country. It tore my heart because I was like, that is not godly. And I've said it, and you gotta understand, I'm a weird nerd, so I got all of that extra education that nobody ever needs to ever think about. But we used to study about all of the evil that was done in the name of God. And every culture, every society, every religion has all done evil in the name of God. They all use God to justify the evil that they've done. So if you were to say that you were a-religious, you didn't want to follow any religion because of that, I could certainly understand that. Given that Christianity in the United States is the largest religion that people claim, not saying they are, I say they claim it, you know, I certainly can understand you all's point. I'm not going to stop being Christian, you know, because, you know, you all's podcast or whatever. But I do certainly understand the points that you're making, and as you flash your, you know, some not all, sign. Yeah, that's pretty much it. People are going to be that way, but
okay. So what's the difference?
About the evangelical,
Alfred, what's the difference? It was something you just said. What's the difference between a Christian that's claiming it and a Christian that isn't?
You know, that's an interesting thing, because I think that's individual. Because then that will put me back in the category of judging folk, because I confess to looking at some people like, I know the devil read the Bible just as much as anybody else, and I'm gonna put you over in that camp. So I know there's judging people. But there are people who, quite frankly, I think they really got a whole lot of the devil in them, and that's why they move the way they do. And call me wrong, because, you know, I'm not supposed to. But yeah, when I look at the what do we call it, groupthink? When I look at the way large organizations, large groups of people move, and you think to yourself, like, wow, that really makes no sense whatsoever, you know. But they all come together to vote this particular thing into being. And you think to yourself, like, how were they able to do that? Because even the people who voted in favor of this, that doesn't even work for them, and then even in their family circle. Like, you can have, you know, everybody has somebody in their family who is homosexual, gay, lesbian, you know, bisexual, whatever. Everybody does. I mean, but we'll vote against, you know, anything that has to do with that, because it's not something that we are, without ever taking into consideration how much we love our cousin. And same thing goes for abortion. You look at people talk about women's reproductive rights. I typically look at it the same way I look at war. It's people that don't have kids, or people who not interested in kids, or, you know, you say, well, I think we should go over there and bomb them. I'm like, oh, you must ain't never been punched in the mouth, because if you ever been in a fight, you know you don't really want to fight. I've been in fights. I don't like to fight. I'm gonna try to avoid it as best way I can, because I know in the morning, win or lose, I'm gonna be in pain. That's what fighters know. And everybody else will be like, shoot, we should go. It's consequences coming like that. I'm from Chicago. We'll come to your house the night after. So no, we're not doing that. And there are people who move in a fashion that, as you were talking about, Jen, they don't think about consequences. They don't think about how their vote, their policy, their thoughts impact their own flesh and bone. And that's why I say they pretend to be Christians, because Christians are
let me
always.
let me ask you something, Alfred, because people are always well, religious people, they're always blaming the devil, like continuously, constantly. Whenever someone does something that's bad or not good, they're blaming the devil, right? It's the devil. They got the devil in them. Why isn't it just that some people, right? In my opinion, that's just some human shit, and that was a decision that they made on their own without the devil jumping into them. When we talk about good and evil, do you agree that mass killing is bad? Mass murder?
Who, me?
Yeah, do you agree? How do you feel about mass killing or mass murder? How do you feel about that?
Well, I guess this is the point where I break the internet. I suppose I should say something, Alfred, like, it's the best thing since sliced bread. We should kill them all.
How do you feel? Oh, you feel like it's a good thing.
I mean, I would really struggle to think anybody would say it's a good thing. Of course, I mean, I know you're trying to go somewhere with the question, so I'm gonna play along. Yes, mass murder and mass killing are bad.
Okay, so here's the thing. Let's say someone was like, "Well, I don't like what 50 of you are doing, so I'm just gonna wipe y'all off the face of the earth."
Right? They do
Does
it
that
all the
sound?
time.
Does that sound okay? But does that sound like something a good person would do or a bad person would do?
I mean, clearly, it's something that, in my assessment, I would say it's something that a bad person would do. But remember,
Uh
all
huh.
of the atrocities in the name of God, we go to war. We dropped a bomb on a wedding, from what I remember from the videos, and to kill one guy, and that was the United States, this Christian country of ours, and it,
But
Well,
God
could I?
been killing a lot.
But God,
God been
but no.
killing a
So
lot of
so
people.
where I was that God is a mass killer, and He's been a mass killer repeatedly. So how can
Whoa,
you be a Christian and think? Wait a minute. How can you be a Christian? Let me pose the question, and you can respond. How can you be a Christian and think that mass killing is bad when your own God is a mass killer, yet the devil gets blamed for evil, and it's your God who's continuously done mass killing in the name of good and bad and righteousness? So what do you have to say about that? It's your God that's the mass killer, not Satan.
okay. So we moved. Okay, so now we're going biblical. Okay, all right, fine. Then this is where my piano keys come out. Let's go ahead and do this.
Play, baby, play.
So so I understand your point. I'm not certain where you're trying to go with it, but I don't think it's really important that I need to know that. So
I landed the plane. I landed the plane. That's where I went with it. So you can respond to that.
okay, fantastic. Okay, so when we say people have the devil in them, it's a metaphoric type of thing that talks about the evil that's within people's hearts. Now, whether or not if you ever hang out with Christians and we talk about you've ever heard us say the devil's greatest tricks. All right. So one of the devil's greatest tricks is to convince people that all the bad in the world, only comes from the devil. When we know that man has inherent evil in him, just period. But we use that because sometimes it's that safe space to say they got the devil in them, and maybe they do have the devil in them, but they certainly have their own natural born evil, wrongfulness, selfishness in them. As for God being a mass killer, hey, that was a little bit before my time. I know I'm older than Crunch Dirt, but it was before I came along. Me and God had a conversation about that, and I think he said something along the lines of he wasn't going to destroy the earth again, blah blah blah. But man will use God to justify his own inherent evil. All right, man does that. Now we say it's the devil, but we're all hopefully conscious thinking adults. We know that that's really our way of having conversation about it. But we know there are evil people in the world and people who do wrong, and We watch them all the time. We watch people do evil all the time. You can step out your door and see somebody doing wrong. You can go on the internet, you see it. You see your politicians in office doing evil all the time. And we say they got the devil in them, but we really know that they got their own thing that's going on inside of them. So don't see the term, or the phrasing as being a literal thing. All right, it's just really just a figure of speech that we use a lot of times.
But let me say this. It's weird because you take some things that God says literally, but then other things you say don't take it literal. I think it's more logical to say that God jumped in them. We've had mass killers here. We have mass killers here every other week. They just don't all make the news. But America, right? Lots of mass killing. It would be more logical to say that God jumped in them, not the devil, because the mass killer on record is God, not the devil. So logically, right, if we are made in his image, then we are following God, not Satan. Who did Satan kill?
Yeah.
Who did Satan kill? So you can't say on record. You can't say, well, don't take it literally when we say, the devil jumped in them. We just mean some people are inherently evil. So which is it? Are people inherently evil, or did Satan jump in the mass killer? No, I think God jumped in them because God is the mass killer. Let's call a thing a thing.
I mean, so I have a friend who is an avowed atheist, and he talks much like you do here.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember how our conversations go, and they go pretty much like this, and I'll be thinking like, all right, okay, well, well, all right then. I mean, there's no argument, that I believe that any true believer, any true Christian can have with someone who has developed those views. If we were to go all the way back to the beginning, we go back to Adam and Eve in the garden, go forward a couple steps, and let's talk about Cain and Abel. Now, are we saying that the devil jumped in Cain when he slew his brother Abel, or are we saying that Cain had evil in him, and so and jealousy in his heart? And so when we say the devil, I mean it's a creation that we have in a lot of ways. But to say that God jumped into Cain and had him to kill his own brother, or that when other atrocities happen throughout time and history, that there was God killing all of these people. I mean, I suppose God killed everybody due to COVID. God killed everybody in the Black Plague. God dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. I mean, okay, we can certainly have that conversation, but then I think we go too far afield from the conversation that we really were trying to have, is really just our levels of inherent wrongfulness and judgmental nature.
Hypocrisy.
Yeah, the hypocrisy of how people are. I mean, you'll have on one hand, like NYA said, if you don't like somebody, you're gonna find fault in them. And then just like you all were saying about the pretty girl cancel culture, I don't know what pretty girl cancel culture is, because I still think pretty girls are winning, but hey, I support pretty women, so I'm all.
We're always pretty girls are always gonna win, but we are under attack, sir. Okay, we always gonna win now. We's gonna win. Okay, so I'll say this.
So, we come full circle.
Alfred, I'll say this, right? Respectfully, because I'm also what people would call an atheist. I don't like that label, but that is what they label someone who has no belief in God, right? Fine. Call me an atheist, whatever. I don't think it's that we go far away from the main subject. I just think that we're in the weeds. And usually when you get in the weeds with someone religious, they don't know what to do because it doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
And they realize that they have to suspend disbelief in order to continue preaching what they believe. You have to suspend disbelief. In order for me to believe in Superman, right? I have to suspend disbelief, to sit in the theater, give my $13 and appreciate that this man is flying in the air. I have to suspend disbelief, because if I go in there logically, I will complain and bitch and moan that there's no way a man could fly in the air. Why am I sitting here? I think religion is similar, where you have to suspend disbelief, because if you don't suspend disbelief, you're going to start thinking, wait a minute, well, God is a mass killer. Well, wait a minute, there are 3-year-olds getting sexually assaulted right now. Wait a minute, there are women dying of cancer with God on their lips and God didn't. I have to suspend disbelief. I must, in order to make sense of why hundreds of thousands of people died during COVID. I have to suspend disbelief when a 12-year-old is brutally mutilated and dismembered, and there was no God there to save her. But I'm blessed and favored. And that's why I got my raise and my good husband and my good wife. And that's why I was able to beat this cold and get back to work on Monday. You have to suspend disbelief and imagine that you're more important than that 12-year-old that was dismembered. You must suspend disbelief in order for your God to make sense. It's very similar to sitting there and think men can fly. And that's why I enjoy Superman. I'll pass the mic.
Don't pass it to me, because I'm listening to you. I'm like,
Whoever.
Well, I would like to say this really quick.
I'm gonna piggyback on that, Jen. I'm gonna piggyback on that, because coming from where I came from, and people that I know who were.
I'm sorry, I gotta go, y'all. I gotta go.
Oh,
I gotta go. Yeah. I'll be listening. I'll be in the weeds. It's been a pleasure.
Come back.
All right.
All right, doll.
So
Lily, continue.
Yeah, to piggyback on what you said, I was thinking, because the people that I know who were once pastors, bishops, deacons, and in the church heavily, I'm talking about the ones who were preaching the word and all of that good stuff, who are no longer doing it, and kind of
like the guy in my DMs.
Yeah, well, exactly, right? There's some in mine too. So that's why I'll be looking like, come on, y'all. Like, really,
they want to lay hands. They want to lay hands, Lily.
Right. What are we doing? But anyway, for all of them who left, I always ask, what was it? Like, what was it that made you turn away or to whatever? And they all pretty much said the same thing in different ways. And what it was is that they messed around and studied too much.
That's interesting.
And because it's the thing, what I've learned about religion, what they request of you to do typically is to choose one, which never made sense to me, and just pray, and cross your fingers that you chose the right one and you can get that golden ticket into heaven, right? And like I said, when I was a kid, that shit never made sense to me, because I used to constantly ask my mother, because I was, I kept hearing about this hell thing. So I was like, I don't want to go to hell. So like, Mom, can you tell me that we chose the right religion? Like, can you assure me? Is there anything that you can do to assure me? So, and I like to teach and learn analogies as well. So to me, what that's like is, you say you were born in a mansion, in one room, in this big old mansion, right? You was born there. And you were raised there, and you were told this is the best room. You don't need to leave. There's nothing to see out there. Everything that you need to know about life is in this one room here, right? Now, you're aware that there's a couple of other rooms. You're aware that there's a couple of other rooms, but you don't know there's a whole mansion out there. Nor can you attest to the fact that this is the best room in the house, because you've never left this room. So a lot of them never even leave their religion to study religion and the history of their own religion and where it sprung up from, and the history of religions in general and where they sprung up from, and the hieroglyphs. And I mean, there's so much. And if they do, because I did, if they do, you will become disillusioned, because it doesn't make sense for a lot of reasons. right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is not to try to turn anybody to not, we're just discussing the fact of the hypocrisy, and why the hypocrisy will continue is because they're trying to base their points off of something that the goalpost is going to continuously move, because it doesn't make sense. They got to make it make sense. They got to move the goalposts to make it make sense.
Yeah, and I don't listen. We love our Christian brothers and sisters here. Okay, we're just having a discussion and throwing some things around. We like Kevin Samuels Gold said, I used to be an atheist, but now I'm a believer. Different strokes for different folks. I agree 110%. I think that religion is very, very necessary generationally, because a lot of people would not be good people without it. So I am all for religion. If it's going to help you not cheat, not drink, not do drugs, not steal, not rob, please pray to your Jesus, your long lost BG brother. Pray to Jesus. Do what the hell you got to do to be a good person in society. So I am not anti-religion in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
I will say that I think religion, this is how I see religion. I see it as social clubs. They are social clubs at the end of the day. Because when you break down the nitty gritty, most religious folk don't know how to explain their God. Like Lily, you said, the deeper you go, there was a time where we worshiped the sun. There was a time where we worshipped pyramids. There was a time where we worshipped ourselves. Then 4,000 years, then Christianity happened. Then there's Muslim, then there's Baptist, then there's Pentecostal, then there's Jehovah's Witness, and then there's 4,000 religions worldwide. You just pick your favorite one, just like sports teams, right? The whole world doesn't like the Raiders, right? But there are some Raiders that are going to wear that Raiders jersey, and that's their team. It's the same thing with religion. Some people are Jehovah's Witness, some people are Christian, some people are Catholic. I grew up with Catholics and Christians. All my family and friends, Catholic or Christians, right? We all get along famously, right? With that said, I see it again like social clubs, and you just pick the social club that makes the most sense to you, that has your favorite people in it, right? Maybe you get along with Christians better than you would Catholics, better than you would Jehovah's Witnesses, better than you would Buddha or Muslims, right? Everybody has their thing. And I don't even like going too deep into it. I do it for fun, but I don't like I don't like picking on religious people, because I feel like I'm bullying them, because when you break it down, they don't know how to explain. They're like, fuck, I didn't think about that. Now I got to explain why this 5-year-old got dismembered, but I'm blessed and favored because I was able to buy a Benz this week. How do I explain that? It's inexplicable, right? You must suspend disbelief. It is inexplicable. You cannot ever rationalize. You cannot ever explain to me, okay, why you're blessed and favored in a world that lets children, innocent babies, suffer. If I asked you right now, Alfred, for instance, I heard recently, a 3-month-old baby was born, is now on child support because the stepfather raped it. A 3-month-old baby on child support. I want you to imagine that. A 3-month-old baby with an adult-sized penis in it, tore it up, on life support. Okay, the mother and the stepfather were both arrested. So can you explain to me why your God or your Jesus, right, did not protect that baby, but helped one of the Christians in your church buy a Mercedes Benz? Could you explain that to me?
So I think,
and if you can't, you can. It's okay. It's like, if you like, I'm not touching that.
Well, it's not so much as not touching it. I think the difficult part that we have with God, religion, Jesus, different denominations or whatever, is we tend to try to lump everything together in what I call conflating things. There are things that happen all over the world every day. Every day, millions of people die. And people don't know this. We have every day millions of people die.
Millions.
More
people die from heart disease and heart failure than COVID ever killed people.
Right.
Like, it's just, it's way bigger than a COVID.
Well, yeah, but not within that same time period. But we can have that scientific conversation.
Let's not even go down that road, because
that's the other side of my nerve.
Do you know how many people die of heart disease?
Trust me.
Oh yes.
Do you know how many people die of heart disease every single year?
Right.
Okay.
And if you and when you we're not gonna spend our time comparing or contrasting those things because they are so different. If you just think about and so what you were talking about with the evil that happens in the world and how can it be a God that blesses us? And we'll say us because there's 5 of us on the line, was 6, but 5 of us on the line. We're all sitting in the comforts of our own homes. We're safe. We're secure. You know, whatever the problems are that are affecting the universe, we're not outside. We're not we haven't gotten into a car accident. We at least know this much. We made it home safe today. Okay. We made it home safe today. Is there somebody who's not going to make it home safe? And why didn't God get those people home safe today? And so Christians, as a general matter, you know, and I'm not going to speak for everybody, but as a general matter, we understand that the way that God operates and moves in this world it's not for me to justify, to explain, you know, to even try to understand. But we know that millions of people die every day. We talking about a 3-month-old baby who was torn apart, but we skipped over, you know, the thousands of people who just got blown up, you know, today in Ukraine. You know, we forgot, we skipped over all the people who just got chopped apart in these third world countries. We skip over, you know, all of those things. There is God's everywhere. And maybe, you know, so take like we were talking just this past week about you and I, Jen, on your FB page about what happened down in Mexico. Okay. People have somebody say God wasn't there. God wasn't there because he allowed those people to be kidnapped. But then on the other side, somebody could say God was there because at least 2 of those people made it back home, and that the killers were caught. So you would have
But
these.
the killers did the same thing God did in the Bible.
Well, no. Remember,
That's okay,
if we want to take it out of the hands of God and say, why can't we just accept that there are some evil people in this world and there is no devil or there is no hell? Those are some evil men who did some evil things in the world. Okay, and those evil men who did those evil things in the world, somebody could argue just as easily as we can argue against is that God let that happen to those 2 people. In fact, one of the guys I remember, he said he didn't even want to go. He was like, I think this is a bad idea. He probably would have been me. I'm gonna roll with you, but I don't want to. You know, I just go to bars with my friends. Like, look, if we get into a fight, I'm gonna know this. I'm gonna ride with you, but I don't want to be in the middle of no mess. But he said he didn't want to go. But he's one of the guys that got killed. And you could say, well, God wasn't with him, but maybe God was, and maybe God doesn't stop every evil thing that happens in the world. That's not my thing. But to finish, you know, and not to try to monopolize too much of the conversation, but when we talk about the conversation between religion and explaining, you know, if you really do spend any time with faith, and I really have, it's not our job to explain God to people. And I have studied a lot of different religions. I have traveled. I've been different places. And even before I went back to the church, one of the things that really moved my spirit was I spent a lot of time in nature. So some years ago, when I was a younger man, I went to Brazil for a summer, did a study abroad over there. And I went to a Catholic church when I was over there. I'm not Catholic, but there was only church that was in Brazil, the Catholic over there. So I went to Catholic church. And I felt the presence of God so heavily on me that I knew I was in the right space. And so I went through the forest, went through the rainforest. I woke up at sunrise. I saw God on the beach. I spent time in the mountains. I spent time in nature. And I communed with God every day. And I never felt disconnected from him. In fact, there were times when I used to say, I can't hear God when I'm in church. It's too much noise, too much ritual and routine that's going on in church that I have to get out into nature. So I would go to the woods. I would go to the hillside, and then in Chicago, you know, we have the Lake Michigan, and so I could hear God there, and that's what it is for me. And so I don't typically try to justify God. I don't typically try to explain what God did, you know, back in the day. I mean, I still don't understand how, you know, God brought down the walls of Jericho by having people march around it for so many days and blowing a horn. I was like, well, maybe that's a metaphor, maybe that's literal. Not my place. I wasn't there. But then again, we can't build pyramids, so maybe God, you know, built the pyramids. I don't spend my time trying to do that. And I think most Christians don't typically try to explain God. We try to follow the teachings. You have 10 of them. All right. You follow those 10, maybe you get close. And then you got to remember, love thy neighbor as Christ loved the church. You try to follow those 10, 11 principles. Leave it alone, and we let the rest of the world try to justify, rationalize, deal with the logic of things. I don't know why a grown man would rape a 3-month-old baby, but you know what I do celebrate is that the mother sucker got caught, and he's not going to be out there messing with nobody else's child. And that child who was hurt, pray that God brings that child through that. But also pray that God gives that man that level of punishment that he absolutely positively deserves. And the universe needs that to get back into balance. It was some evil that a man did, and there must be a debt repaid to the universe for that. That's my take on it. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna stay me, and I celebrate you all's rights to stay you. But yeah, Christians, just like even when I rap with Muslims, you don't really spend a whole lot of time trying to convince somebody that God that they need to get there. Find God in your own space. He's there. I mean, and get to if you can't hear him where you at, get to the woods. You'll feel something, and then it'll be like, okay, wait a minute, I was in the wrong place around the wrong people. My spirit wasn't finding its balance, and yeah, you can get there. That's how I got back to the church. Is I got away from the church, if that makes any sense.
I will say, well, thank you for your thoughts. I will say though, Christians and religious people in general, not just Christians, they spend a hell of a lot of time explaining who God is and what God said and what God wants you to do. And God said this, and God doesn't like this, and God. So let's not pretend that it's like it's not your job to explain God. I mean, isn't there? I forgot the word that they call it, but Christians are literally supposed to recruit. Say again?
Evangelism.
Yeah, they're supposed to recruit other people to come in by telling people what God is and who. So again, it's like it's cookie cut, right? It's cookie cut. I wish
Billy
we had.
Don't even recruit.
I wish we had a staunch Christian up here, like Black TV. I know he's all about Christianity, but it depends on what Christian you speak to as well. I mean, there's Christian light. There's like, I don't know, I don't get into that. And then there's the Christian that's like, well, God said and God wants and these 10 commandments. So it's like, I mean, there are levels. There are levels to it, just like everything else. I respect what Alfred said, but as an atheist, I would say, do not suspend your disbelief. Listen to your logic and your common sense. Question everything. Question everything. Unfortunately, the Bible, most of it is oppressive and suppressive, and mostly towards women. Anything that's built, whether it's government, laws, rules, religion, that's geared towards or biased towards women, like the Bible is not a good thing. It's just not a good thing. I don't care who your God is, who you pray to, or whatever. In all religion, even in the Muslim faith, it is oppressive to women. Anything that's oppressive or suppressive to women. Even in our government, well, God doesn't like abortion, so we can't abort, right? It's always, for some reason, women always suffer more. They are not criticizing, men on the red carpet. Women are getting stoned because they're showing their ass and tits. It's always about the woman. So anything under that umbrella is no bueno in my book. That's just my opinion. I'd like to pass the mic. NYA, you've been quiet. No, Saint, you've been hella quiet for a atheist.
Well, I'm just we have new guests on here, and I like to.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah. But I will say that, Jen, you're only a couple of hours from Mount Zion National Park, or you want to take that jump over there, and maybe it'll hit you.
Maybe if I go to the woods, God will be like, Jen, you're here. We've been waiting for you. How long is it?
Hey, Jen's Utah's is a really beautiful place to visit, and I was just there a couple of years ago, and yeah.
Actually, I say if you're looking for God, go to prison. Everybody finds him in there.
That's true too.
God's in prison. I don't know why y'all think he's in the church. He's
Listen,
in prison.
I appreciate Alfred's take. I mean, you know,
He did a wonderful job.
he's got
Absolutely.
he's got faith, and I don't have any problem with that. The problem always comes in is that there's a whole other group of people, many groups of people that take it further and interact and affect other people's lives. I realize that's not Alfred. And if more people were like Alfred, I don't think there would be any issue, really. You know, believe what you want to believe. It's kind of hard to, and I'm glad he's not really defending, like he just says he doesn't know, and that's honest. So I commend him on that, you know, because how could you? I mean, there's so many things in the Bible. If you want to bring up, I mean, I know Jen, you were talking about all the, you know, first of all, the Bible has been translated in so many
Watch your
different
mics. There's a lot of noise somewhere back there.
Yeah,
Who is that?
my
Oh, that's
phone.
you. Oh, okay.
That's yeah. So like in this scripture here, hold on, they're making a lot of noise. I tried to get out of this area. Hold on.
I like what Don Levant said. He said, one thing I've never been able to understand is all that killing in the Bible, but thou shalt not kill, killing babies and everything.
So
Don,
here's a scripture here, Isaiah 45,
Honey.
6 and 7. There is none beside me. I am the Lord, and there is none else. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Now, some people can probably go and say, well, that's mistranslated. But right there, it's saying that he creates evil. He's the one that creates evil.
Can I ask a question?
Hold on,
I'm
Chocolate,
sorry.
because I do want to acknowledge this. Such a great comment. It's a Christian's job to explain their God and religion. It's like people trying to convince me to join a social club. You'll have to be able to answer basic questions about the club. I also like what Don Harden said. This is so important. She says, do you think the slave masters taught the slaves the Bible as strategy? Even today, 79% of African Americans identify as Christians. It seems to be the only thing they agree on. That's another thing. Like, if the majority of Christians are African Americans, there has to be something there. We cannot ignore that. Why are 79% of African Americans, okay, people who were enslaved in the United States of America, why are most of them Christians when there are 4,000 religions, you know what I mean, on the planet? Why do they adhere to Christianity when Christianity was used as a weapon against them on plantations? God damn it. What the fuck, man?
So, okay, Jen, I
And
always
I'll
say
hop in
there's
on this
two
just real
people,
quick.
two groups of people that I have a hard time grasping their allegiance to Christianity, because I don't believe in paying, like, what is it? Pledging allegiance to anything that doesn't pledge allegiance to me. So I look at like the queer community and the Black community. I'm like, how do you make this make sense in your head based off of what they've, like, for the queer community, what the Bible says about you, and for the Black community, how it was introduced to you? Because what was your people believing before the Bible was introduced to you? What was your people believing before slavery? Like, what's wrong with that? What's and being in the church, the craziest thing to me, because I'm about to answer my own question, what Black people believed in prior to slavery is heavily demonized. Heavily demonized. Chocolate, am I lying?
It is called hoodoo.
There you go.
And I also wanted to
So,
mention that the Bible wasn't written until the 1600s.
Yes.
Just like the invention of palm-colored people were also an invention and a construct, 1600s. So if you're telling me that this is a book that I should follow as a human being to be better, to get closer to what we consider this godly presence, who doesn't believe women should do certain things, that children are to be seen, not heard, that women are to submit to their husbands. It is always with a sword. It is never with a hand of love that is experienced when we talk about Christianity. Because when you talk about the Crusades and you talk about the history of these particular things, again, as we talked about earlier, it is used to disguise the manipulation of what it was. We sit around, and 79% of Black people know this is true. You're holding a Bible created by a man who was a demon hunter. King James believed in demons. He believed that there were witches. He believed that there were different things that needed to be coveted, as to speak. And it was the Christians who were being murdered at the time. And they went to King James and they stated, excuse me, can you please get these people off my back? We'll do XYZ for you if you do this for us. That is why his name is on a Bible that we use today. And the fact that slavery was a part of that, even in our national anthem, it discussed about slavery in the third verse of the song. But we're supposed to sing that, right? So again, as I stated before I left, when you talk about Christianity and how it's used as a weapon, it is not used as a positive, because it is used to demonize women. It is used to demonize children. It is used to put men in certain positions of prayer and praise, because God is a him. Right. So that means that the man comes first and then the woman comes second, and nothing else matters.
I demand women come first.
Always.
Hallelujah.
But my thing, my issue with this, and not so much as, because again, there's been beautiful books written about history, and the Bible is parables. It is not truth. It is a perspective of life during that time. And to take it and go, this is the book you need to become the best person that you are. And to me, as it always has been in any religion, with, like I said earlier, the fact that, yes, my father may have been special, but I'm thankful that he introduced us to all these things. Jehovah's Witnesses, I know about the Mormons. I am versed in the Torah as well as the Quran. So my understanding, again, one, none of the religions are safe for women and children. We are looked at as tools to benefit the men in our lives. It doesn't matter across the board. And then when you pull back the veil and you see the danger that these men sit and do, they just took out women out of the Southern Baptist Caucus. I think it's caucus. I apologize if I'm saying it wrong. But they just took 2 churches out of the Southern Baptist Association or whatever because they were women. So to me, again, Christianity has a big question mark for me, especially in this country, because again, it's used as a weapon. It's not used as a positive. Because again, I always wonder, why are there homeless when it says in the Bible that we're supposed to take the widows and the children and the homeless, but we don't.
Oh, we got billionaires now. We got billionaires.
We're supposed. It don't.
Hallelujah.
So let's before I do want to pass the mic to NYA and Alfred, please. Because they are visiting. I just want to read the super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat, Don Levon, and that tongue, honey. The slaves and slave masters prayed to the same God. I do say jokingly all the time, if God existed, he's racist as hell. All right. I say that jokingly, but I always say if God existed, he is racist as hell. Because when you look at the people collectively that have been under the thumb of evil, it's always the melanated, the kink-haired. Okay. So I will pass the mic, Alfred or NYA. You guys can, by all means, please reply. Mama has to pee, though. I'll be right back.
Yeah. As of recent, I used to always say stuff like that. Like, damn, I was like, well, if Jesus, if there is a Jesus that came and things like that, 100% white. Because if you line up everything that's in the book along with things, I'm like 100% white. There's no other way. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you. Like, that should be the pictures y'all put up on the wall.
He's a white supremacist, not just white. Not just white, a white supremacist.
In no way that a nigga did this to, you know what I'm saying? You know how we try to play it, like the whole, he may have been black. No, absolutely. If he came, he was definitely 100% a white man. with my journey or whatever, I just was like my last year of college, we took these classes, like kind of like religious studies or whatever. And then it was just one of those random days that she mentioned that Jesus had siblings. And it just blew my mind. I couldn't grasp it. I was like, damn, grandma never mentioned that. You get what I'm saying? And I was like, why was that never mentioned? I feel like that's so important. I was like, Jesus had siblings. I was like, because you know what the story, you know how the storyline.
The book of James.
That's just that's the true storyline. Like you
Right.
don't go outside that. Like I had never in my life ever heard no piece of information like that, and it just sent me just like this whirlwind of just trying to learn. You know what I'm saying? Learn and find out different information. Like you said, it's a whole bunch of books written on history of it. And read the history of banana. It's a book on the history of bananas. You know what I'm saying? How did bananas start? It's just a book on the history of everything. So then I started realizing that more and more, and I was able to pick those things up. You know what I'm saying? Like Alfred said, I'm never the one who trying to like just go back and forth with you about it, because you know how that conversation always gonna end. It's gonna be like,
well, brother, I will say this to you, NYA.
That's you.
Understand. I have no problem with any religion in the sense of if that's what you want to practice. I feel that that's what was fought to have religious freedom in this country, because there's a lot of countries that it's not like that. However, we have to be honest that Christianity is the monopoly of this country, and it is used as a weapon. So it's like, why are we constantly trying to change the narrative? Again, it is missing information. And the one book that the slaves received and was allowed to read, it wasn't even the right book. They took books out. Yes. David and Goliath, anything that had to do with uprising and uplifting and being your own person, they took it out.
Yes.
And there's also a whole nother Bible and the Dead Sea Scrolls that nobody, I mentioned that, like nobody ever cares about the other Bible, which or nobody cares about the Dead Sea Scrolls. Like when you bring that up, it's just like, nah, my nigga, all we gonna focus on is this one book. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have room to even, they don't even want to peek into it. It's like, damn, if I'm a black man and I had a book on black men my whole life, and somebody come to me and be like, bro, I got a couple more books on black men. Why would I sit there and be like, nah, I don't want to read them? They'd be like, yo. Right. But you've been reading a book about black men your whole life. You don't want to know no extra. You don't want to know nothing else about it.
No. Exactly. There's nothing wrong.
So I wonder. I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if Alfred spoke yet because I was in the bathroom. But I do want to say, piggybacking off of what Chocolate said, even in going back to the main topic, Ciara and Russell Wilson, is that she was getting crucified and he was getting crucified for not being able to control his woman, if you notice. So he was also being bashed for not being able to control his Christian woman while being a Christian, right? And she was being crucified for not being more, more conservative. So we even see that, piggybacking off what Chocolate said, we even see that with the Ciara and Russell situation. I don't know if Alfred spoke though. Did he? Did he even respond?
No,
let that man respond. Jesus.
No, I didn't say anything. I've been listening. So.
Oh, okay.
Years ago, I read a short story by Arthur C. Clarke called "The 9 Billion Names of God," and the thing behind it was that the devil was trying to get all of God's names worldwide together so he can put it in the program. So if he said that if the program said all of God's names at the same time, it will unmake the universe, and then you get to do everything all over again. So that was the goal, and it was a very interesting story, short story book that always held a special place for me, not because of the 9 billion names of God or the unmaking of the universe, but really about what we've been talking about with religion and Christianity and all of that. So all of you all have studied different religions, and it's been really interesting, NYA, as you talk about the Dead Sea Scrolls and, the other books, and then, No Saint talking about, his education through religion, and really just listening to y'all. We have to understand that here in the United States, this is a predominantly general over umbrella Christian society. But within that Christian society, we have a lot of different faith denomination, a lot of different faith practices that it's really difficult to say it's just one Christian belief that we're following. Because I don't follow a Christian belief that oppresses women, because I believe that we're supposed to treat people essentially the way we want to be treated. That if you follow Christ, let's say we got Old Testament Christians, you got New Testament Christians. New Testament Christians are supposed to say, a man is supposed to love his wife as Christ loved the church, right? And we're supposed to follow him. And so when you think about it from that perspective, how do I mistreat my wife if I am following Christ and following and loving her the way Christ loved the church? And so you're absolutely right that when we look at it from a historical context and the way women have been oppressed in a traditional Bible that we study, and then you take all that stuff, it's easy to just lump things together. But if we look at it from the standpoint of the 9 billion names of God, Christianity is actually a small religion in the world. The people don't know that, because we're here in the United States and we think, oh, Christians this, Christians that. In the world, Christianity is actually a fairly small religion. Believe it or not, the majority of the world is actually Muslim. Didn't know that. Had to learn that. Not Christian, mostly Muslim. And probably maybe the next largest group probably are atheists, or people that don't believe. But it doesn't matter in terms of how we supposed to move in space with each other. I'm supposed to love you no matter what you believe in. I'm supposed to give you space to be you no matter what. I don't spend my time trying to convince you not to be atheist. I don't spend my time trying to convince you that God is real for you. I spend my time trying to protect my space and my peace. So if I can't hear God because they too loud in the church on Sunday morning, and I need to take a walk outside, and my wife would tell you, hey man, it's been times when I would get up and walk out the church and take a walk around the block and walk on the curb or fence post just to be able to meditate and get close to my God and stay in tune. But I respect your right to be, because the God that I serve said that we have free will. And so why would you not have the space to not believe just as much he gave me the space to believe, right? And so let's say our oppressors, back in slavery, only taught us a few books of the Bible. Yeah, but he couldn't keep it. He couldn't keep it at a few books. He couldn't keep the education away from us. He couldn't keep the rest of the words from us, because he taught us those few words, and then we saw the rest of the book and we got educated. So whether we want to say that the ancient African religions are deemed to be hoodoo or paganism or whatever the heck it is that they want to, that's another name for God. Because if you go across the world, they also worship God. And most of the world worships one God. There's not a million gods, all of that. Most of the world worships one God. And so so sister, when you talk about your dad being a Muslim, hey, years ago I dated a Muslim girl, and it was so funny because Eddie Murphy had a skit talking about, what do you mean? There ain't gonna be no Christmas? The baby can't have no Christmas? And so he was talking about, no, mom, we don't believe in it no more. No Christmas. And so we had this whole conversation about if we were to have kids and how we we're going to celebrate Christmas between a Christian, myself, and a Muslim, her. And let me tell you something. God was with us. He's like, it don't matter. You can celebrate both, and it'll still be good with me. And I was like, well, all right. There was no conflict.
But
in
aren't
the
you?
universe.
It's. But you just. That's weird.
Could I ask a
Respectfully, that's
question?
weird.
Oh, go
Respectfully,
ahead.
I just want to say respectfully, that's weird. What do you mean God was with us and said he was okay? You just gave God a script and a personality. That was weird for me. I'm sorry, that was weird for me. Like you just literally in your mind. No, but this is why. Let me explain why it's weird, and then you can respond. It's weird for me because you literally, in order for what you were doing to be right in your mind, you literally made it okay with God. Like you realize you literally did that. You was like, something is wrong here because we don't practice the same religion. So in my mind, I'm going to make it that God said it's okay so I can do this. And I have to disagree that all these religions worship the same
Right.
God. It is not the same God. It is not the same God.
Yeah, it is. If you actually read the Quran, and
No,
read the Bible,
it's not the
you know,
it's not the same God, because I can talk to a Muslim and they will tell me different rules than the rules that Christians have, than the rules that Catholics have, than the rules that Pentecostal, like everybody has different rules. So it's not
no,
the same God. They all believe in a higher being, but they
no,
custom fit
you missed
that God.
God. Okay,
Say
so
again?
let me. I'm apologizing for jumping in because I usually try to just turn my mic off. But you were saying so much that I needed to just pause. It is the same God. Okay, Muslims worship the God of Abraham, which is the same God that Christians worship. What you're talking about are different faith traditions, or what we call religions. Remember that God is not a religion. Religion is a man-made construct. So your argument is about the construct of religion, but it is not about who God is. God is God, and we try to change them to fit our own narrative. So when I say that God was with us when I was talking about dating a Muslim woman as a Christian, I prayed on it, and she prayed on it, and we talked about those things. And and when we went to the text, you got to go, because you got to go in your word, right? If you're gonna go in your word, go in your word. When you go into your word, you will see that there was no conflict that was not man created. We create these boundaries and barriers between us because that's just who we are as people. You light skin, I'm dark skin. We can't get. Wait a minute, no, she light too. But we're not supposed to get along. Blacks and whites not supposed to get along. People from the suburbs or whatever. We create these boundaries between us, but there was only one God, and in the universe of God not really processing all of the BS that we come up with to separate and segregate ourselves. So you talk about the whole progressiveness of what we do in the universe. Say, well, usually you're accustomed dealing with Christians who are really really strict on everything. I'm pretty strict on my faith in terms of what I believe in God, but I also know that in respect your right to be and to know that God gonna love you regardless of what you think. Because if you just think about
So now let me jump in for you. That's a blatant lie, because God killed people that didn't agree or follow his rules. So what are you talking? I find it interesting. Well, God's going to love you no matter what. Make up your mind. Is he all knowing, all judging? No. You made up God's mind a few minutes ago. You said it was okay with God that I was with these Muslim people. So you make up what God is thinking all the time. So that's why I'm saying, make up your mind here, right? Make up your mind. Do you know what God is saying? Or on one vein, wait, let me finish. On one side, you're saying, I can't explain God. I don't know why God is doing it. But when you wanted to hang out with a Muslim, you said that God said it was okay. Another thing is, well, God's going to love you no matter what. No, God killed people in masses, okay, who were not on par with what he thought and the rules he gave. So do not say God's going to love you no matter what, because that is a blatant lie. Again, I say there is not one God. Every religion, okay, prays to a different God. And stop saying that, well, you're talking about religion. If not for religion, you wouldn't know a God. Let me say that again. If not for religion, you would not know a God. You learn through your religion of a God. If someone dropped a baby in the middle of the forest where you say God is, okay? If somebody dropped a baby in the middle of the forest, that baby, if it was able to survive, is going to think, eat, shelter, sleep. He's not going to be thinking, God, are you out there? You say he had to be taught. You have to be taught religion, and religion comes with an extra gift of a God. Religion always comes with a God. Religion never just comes as religion. There always has to be some God involved. It is not one God. It is not one God. Every God wants something different from its followers. Some people have a God and gay people are okay. Some people have a God and gay people are an abomination. Some people have a God and fornication is okay. Some people have a God and say no sex till marriage. Some people have a God and it's turn the other cheek. And some people have a God and it's eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. It is not the same God. That is a blatant lie. Saying God is going to love you no matter what is a blatant lie. God is a mass murderer. God is a mass murderer.
No, yeah.
Hold on, real quick. I want to acknowledge these. I mean, shit. Let me tell you something. If I was gonna cook, I'd be religious too. If I could cookie cut a God, I'd be religious too. I'd be like, well, my God said I could show my tits on YouTube, so can't nobody stop me. If I'm a cookie cut, I'm gonna go beat that bitch's ass because in my religion, my God says eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Shit, I mean, it's fun. Religion is fun. If I'm gonna tell you what I think is right about God and what he judges, he doesn't judge. He kills, he doesn't kill. He loves everybody, but he's a mass murderer. Make up your fucking mind. He loves you no matter what. But you just said, well, God spoke to me and told me it was okay to hang with Muslims. Are you betraying your God to hang with this Muslim? What the fuck is going on? No. Let me acknowledge these super chats. Thank you for the super chat, Don Levon. Don Levon says, since we all worship one God, so shouldn't it matter what religion we worship, including any of the 4,000 religions, even paganism? Thank you for the super chat, NYA. Great time on the show, and God in the Bible talks about other gods. Oh, that's a tidbit. That's a fun fact. Thank you for the super chat, Don Levon. Don Levon says, Exodus 23, KJV, King James Version, thou shalt not have no other gods before me. So there are other gods. Okay. All right. I will pass the mic.
All right. So let me
I'm listening, Alfred.
Yeah, let me walk you through, and hopefully we'll actually hear each other. So I don't speak for God, clearly. God, and when I say God would love you no matter what. Here's the way I look at that. Let's assume there is a God. Okay, and I'm saying it. I'm saying it for your benefit, not mine. Let's assume there is a God. Does God?
Why for my benefit? Why for my benefit? My God is Thanos.
Okay, I'll say for anybody's benefit.
Okay, it's not for my benefit.
There's a God. God doesn't need your approval to exist. God didn't need your approval to create the universe. God didn't need your critique to do any of the things that God did. Okay, and so so set that to the side. Just as much as we're talking about rich people talking about Russell Wilson and Ciara, they're rich. What the freak out opinion matters to them, right? So if you say God's the universal billionaire, what does our opinion of God matter to God? That's part one. Part two is when we talk about religions and religions and man-made religions and faith traditions. We are many times trying to find our balance within this universe. Okay, and so when I look at balance in the universe, I look at scripture, and you got to understand when I had an issue with the Muslim faith, and the reason I did was really strange. I used to listen to Minister Farrakhan, and I liked his teachings. I liked what he talked about in terms of cooperative development and how we as Africans outside of the continent needed to be able to work together. I'm a little bit older than most of you probably, but years ago when Farrakhan was talking about buying farms, and he was talking about buying farms and creating our own farm system so that African Americans could have food that will be in our community and affordable to us. And I was like, wow, that really resonated with me. But I had an issue with his Muslim faith because I'm Christian, can't follow the teachings of a Muslim. So I had to go back and start reading and say, okay, what is it about this man that makes me want to follow what it is that he's teaching, but I can't follow the faith that he's talking about? So I started reading the Quran. And then I started talking with my Muslim brothers, and then even Christians who actually converted to Islam. And I had, of course, I absolutely loved Malcolm X, and it didn't matter. I read that, and so here I am. I'm having all of these conflicts, and so one day, wholly by accident, I set both books side by side, and there were so many parallels in there that I was confused. I was like, well, wait a minute. I've been taught and so we're talking about religion being taught. I was taught all through when I was younger that the Muslims were these people over there. You as a Christian, you're not supposed to follow any of those teachings because it's against the word of God. But here I am looking at two books that play side by side. Much of it was actually synchronous. It came together. And so that really helped me to understand that I've been, I won't say taught wrong, but more along the lines of not taught. And so I didn't have that. I stopped having those issues. So when we talk about, Christmas, and if you've ever heard Farrakhan preach, Farrakhan has preached many times at Christian churches and total rails off. And Christians have come to, well, of course he's in Chicago, so of course we hear him a lot more than anybody else does. But if you go to Savior's Day, there are Christian ministers who speak there. Everybody's there, and Farrakhan preaches from the Bible a lot of times. Like people don't know that, and I'm just like, I'm blown away. Like, whoa, I didn't demonize this man, this whole faith tradition, and really what it was my own ignorance, So I don't place my ignorance on anybody else. Now I say, hey, I didn't know. But as I came to know, and just like you say, suspend disbelief, as I started to suspend disbelief, the disbelief of what it is that I had been taught or not taught years ago, I started to look at things and I say, okay, if God is in the Baptist church and God is in the Kojic church, and God is in the AME church, and God is in the AME Zion church, and God is in all of these other churches and the Jehovah's Witnesses, how is he not also in these other faiths? Like, did he just pick this one group of people to be God for? Or did he come down and he spent time reaching and teaching with a lot of different people, and they processed it. So there's a lot of part about religion that when we talk about the man-made constructs of it all, we interpret God the way that we do. The way I interpret God is love. God, ain't no heat, no negative energy in me towards anything that you all have said, because it's your right in the space to be and to believe that you do. I was trying to link my guy in who also is an atheist, and we always have this. He calls me this diehard liberal. He's like, I hate you effing liberals. You always love everybody. And so I literally had to look up liberal because I had no idea what it meant. I know it sounds crazy, but people use liberal like it's this bad term or whatever. But what
it changes really every week. Don't worry about it. Look it up again next week. It'll be a whole nother different.
Okay. I know it was something because I'm like, but he calls me that, and he's like, you fucking liberal, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't even know what I did, and I realized what it is. I love everybody. You good with me? You have the right to be who you are, and so long as who you are does not harm other people, you probably are okay in the universe. God don't need you to believe in him to exist.
Okay,
God
so let me jump in because we're pressed for time now, and I appreciate you, but we're pressed for time. It sounds to me like you're not as Christian as you claim to be. Listening to you, right? You don't sound as religious as you claim to be, because you actually divert and stray from a lot of the rules and judgment, and religion is very judgy. And you lied twice in your little rant. First of all, you said you can't speak for God. You spoke for God this whole time. This whole time you spoke for God. Even with your Christmas story, you literally gave God a script. You literally said what God said. You said, God said it was okay. So it was okay with me. That's like me saying, well, Lily said it was okay. And then you go to Lily and you would say, well, Jen said you said it was okay. That is what you said about God. God said it was okay. So then it was okay with me. That's you speaking. Wait, let me finish. That's you speaking for God. Another thing you said is God doesn't care what you think of him. He doesn't need you to exist. That's another lie. I don't know what Bible you've read, but God is a jealous God. God is a vengeful God. Okay? So I don't know what type of Christian you are. I'm confused now. Because God is a jealous God. It says clearly, do not worship any gods over me. Okay. If you don't agree with a God, you get punished or sent to hell or you're an abomination. Okay. Throughout the entire Bible, God is telling you, I got a fucking issue with you if you don't worship me. God is constantly in the Bible. I'm not making it up. He is constantly calling you to task if you don't worship him. The most narcissistic entity ever written. Okay? Since Dr. Seuss is fucking Grinch Who Stole Christmas. God is very narcissistic. Okay? So I don't understand what you mean. Like, God doesn't care what you think. God cares what you think throughout the entire fucking Bible. Throughout the entire fucking Bible, he cares what you think. So you lie twice. You speak for God. Okay, that's one. And two, God cares very much what you think to the point of threatening you, okay, with an eternity in hell. That's how much he cares about what you think.
Okay, let me respond really quickly. I'm gonna hopefully make it quick. So
make it quick because we're wrapping soon.
When you pray, if you think that hearing God in your spirit is you speaking for God, when you say, I prayed, like when my wife and I got married, we sat down and we prayed on it. And we believe we heard God. And he gave his blessing for us to get married. Now, in your version, we gave God a script because we want to get married. So, skip it. We're going to put it in here and say, God, do you want us to get married? He ain't say no. I guess that means yes. No, that's not.
But that's exactly what happened. Yeah, it's no different than people. It's no different than people say, God told me to kill this family. Like it's really you giving God a script because you wanted to do something. Like that's literally what happened.
No, that's literally what you're saying. That is not.
No, because you don't have proof. What proof do you have that God spoke to you about your marriage? You have the burden of proof. You're the one that's saying he did something. I don't have the burden of proof. If I tell you Lily said something, I can bring you Lily, right? And say, Lily, did you not say X, Y, and Z? The burden of proof is on me. So since you said God, right, said you two should get married, the burden of proof is on you, not me.
Maybe I've already proven it. Still married. He blessed us, and So
why did he bless you and not the infant that was sexually assaulted? Why are y'all so special? Explain that to me.
I'm pretty sure somebody else prayed before they got married, but they're not married no more.
Yeah, that might.
Can you answer that before we get long-winded? Because I do want to get the last thoughts from everybody. Before we get long-winded, I just want to know why you just said God blessed your marriage, right? That's what you said?
Right, which is separate from an infant getting sexually assaulted.
Okay. No, it's not separate. No, it's not separate. It's not separate at all, actually. Because what you're saying is that you were favored by God. That's what you're saying. Like that's literally what you're saying. I don't understand how that's hard to understand. That is what you're literally saying, that God looked out for you. That's what blessed and favored means. Blessed and favored. If I favor you, Alfred, if I favor you, let's say I have $100 to give away. If I favored you from the panel, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you. That's what favored means. I favor you. So why did God, I'm not making any assumptions. You're making all the assumptions. You assume that God blessed your marriage. I'm not making, the burden of proof is not on me. It's on you. So I'm asking you again, why did God bless your marriage, but didn't bless an abused child? Okay. For safety. Who are y'all? Who are you and your wife? Why do you count more than people who are abused and starving? But who are you two on the planet? Like seriously, honestly, who are you two peons on the face of this earth that you deserve a blessing. Wait a minute, that you deserve a blessing, and a child that's suffering doesn't deserve more of a blessing. So you're a priority over a child that's being mutilated? That's what I want you to explain. It's such a simple question, and you can't seem to answer it.
Okay, let me explain, and hopefully I
Okay.
can. Real quick thing.
Okay.
There's 7 billion people on Earth. Okay, 7 billion people on Earth. You use your $100 analogy.
Mm-hmm.
If you make the assumption that one blessing that came my way took away a blessing from somebody else, that diminishes God just very greatly. Say he only got one blessing to give out. He gonna only bless one marriage in here. He gonna only bless one person in here. You could also process it from the standpoint there was evil that was done to that child, and God blessed that child by saving that child's life. God blessed the universe by letting those parents be.
Why didn't God bless? Why didn't God bless? Wait a minute. Why didn't God? Why wasn't God proactive with that child like He is with your marriage? Why didn't God, right? Instead of letting that baby go through hell and torture and near death, right? So you're saying that God was busy blessing your marriage and missed that child was being murdered, but then He swooped in to help the child survive. That's what you're saying. He was busy blessing your marriage while this child is being tortured, but it's okay because He swooped in and made sure that child didn't die from the torture it received. What the fuck is going on?
And so this is where my liberalism comes back into play. I'd be like, hey.
No, this is where your delusion comes in. Your delusion, not your liberalism. Not your liberalism, your delusion.
Because you have the space to think and believe whatever it is that you want to believe. You have taken different things and put them all together. These two little points. You know, a blessing that comes to one person took a blessing away from another person. Or more importantly, God was so busy over here that He couldn't be bothered to be over there.
No, it's just intrusive.
Is put it on me to explain what God did for somebody else or didn't do for somebody else. When I'm talking about this very, very specific things. Hey, I got blessed in this moment just as much as these patrons are blessing you. They blessing you. Ain't that person sent the blessing to me off of any of these things. $4.99, $5, $20. I ain't getting damn one of them blessings.
And you don't think that that's obnoxious?
No, I don't.
You don't think that thinking, wait a minute, you don't think that thinking that God blessed your marriage, but not saving a child from a near-death experience, you don't think that's kind of obnoxious? Like, well, he helped me in my marriage. I don't know what he was doing when that child was being tortured, but it's none of my business. You don't think that's obnoxious?
No, it's not obnoxious because He didn't save me
from a
lot. You know how many times I almost died for real? And I feel like God saved me, and I probably didn't deserve to be saved. I'm gonna give you
but you think that He saved you, but He didn't save children that die every day. That's obnoxious. That you think that you're so special that God took the time out to save you, but not those children. That's obnoxious. It's obnoxious.
No, that's your.
It is though. It's not my interpretation. I'm not. Again, the burden of proof is on you. On one side, you claim you don't speak for God, but then you've been speaking for Him the whole night. You got to make up your mind.
I'm cool with mine.
So you're cool with saying you're cool. So you're cool with saying you speak for Him, and you don't speak for Him. You're cool with that? Because if you're cool with it, then I'm cool.
I'm cool with whatever it is that you believe. Because there is no, again.
I don't, wait a minute. I like tangibles, Alfred. Nice try. But I like tangibles. It's not what I believe. You literally said you don't speak for God, yet you've been speaking for Him the whole night. I don't need to, that's not about belief. That's tangible evidence. You said you speak for Him. I mean, you said you don't speak for Him, but you've been speak for Him. That's tangible evidence. That's tangible. Have you spoken for God tonight?
I have never spoken for God.
No, you did. You said that He blessed your marriage. You said He blessed your marriage. You said that He has saved you. Listen to me. You said He blessed your marriage. You said that He made Christmas okay with the Muslim. Okay. You said that He saved you from that. That is speaking for God. You were telling us what God has done. That is you speaking for God. That is you speaking for God. Okay. If I say Lily saved me from this car accident, okay, that is me speaking for Lily.
Right.
You've been speaking for God the whole night, but then you say you don't speak for God. You sound respectfully like an insane person who doesn't remember the words that come out of his own mouth. It's weird.
No. Okay. Now here's the funny thing. Every time you say speak for God, that's what you said. I've never once said I speak for God. I said God blessed me. Okay. Me saying God blessed me.
But then you're speaking for him. You're saying he blessed you. You're speaking for him. You're telling us what God did.
For me.
God did
it for me. Now you can what your assumption is that he didn't do anything for me and that I'm making it.
That's not my assumption. I'm not assuming anything. That's not my assumption. I am just repeating your words. But for some reason, what's weird is this, that I'm repeating what you said, right? Mm-hmm. But when you hear it out loud, coming across the room, it perturbs you. Yet I'm repeating what you said. You said God blessed you. I'm just repeating what you said. These are your words. These are your words. So it's not you believe and you're saying. I'm just repeating what you said, Alfred.
If I say God blessed me, that's me saying God blessed me. Now, if you're saying that me receiving a blessing from God took a blessing from someone else, or that's speaking for God in terms of how he's supposed to go about doing anything for anyone else, that's not what I said.
No. I didn't say you said that. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Explain it to me. Explain why you got blessed and favored and someone else did it. I said, explain it to me. I didn't say that's what you said. I also said that you speak for God, but then you say you don't speak for God in the same vein. And that's weird to me.
I never once said I spoke for God. I said God.
But you do when you're telling me what God did for you, and when you're telling me that God said it was okay for Christmas with the Muslim, that's you speaking for God.
No.
Am I bugging here? Can somebody please help me? Am I bugging? When you said God said it was okay that I spend Christmas with the Muslim, you literally said those were your words in black and white. God said it was okay for me to spend Christmas with the Muslim. You said God said it was okay. You said that when you were marrying your wife, God came down or stayed wherever he's at. I don't know where he be chilling at. God was like, yeah, this marriage is good. That's you speaking for God. Dios mío. Ay, Dios mío.
Yeah, you gonna.
So let me ask a question if that's okay.
Hey guys, how you guys doing?
What's up, Glenn Lawrence? Welcome to the podcast,
Glenn.
Oh man,
Glenn been with the tater tots wondering why Andrew Tate ain't free yet. Ain't that right, Glenn?
No, actually,
Glenn, I thought you was down to Bosnia.
Why ain't you protesting? Why ain't you protesting that the Tates ain't free, Glenn?
Because I don't care. Like I said, it's all I'm waiting for all the information to come out.
What more information do you need?
I don't know. We still ain't figured that out. We did a whole 3 hours
the prison that he in don't need no more information.
I want to know why you're not protesting, Glenn. I want to know why you're not protesting. Your man's
hairline is destroyed.
Here's the thing, guys. Like, just because I may agree with some things that he says, or I'm very literal with the law. Like, where I'm like, you know what? Until there is a conviction, until there's enough irrefutable evidence, I don't make an assumption off of nothing.
I'm not talking about the case the case at all, Glenn. I'm wondering why you tater tots aren't protesting. Y'all should be that's your man's.
First of all, there's no tots over here. I'm not cutting around. I'm too busy moving some shit.
If you don't mind, Jen, I'd like to ask Alfred a question. If that's
your what? Your what?
I have my whole channel canceled. My channel got canceled. Note to self.
Oh,
if
yes.
you make fun of Abba and Preach, they will get your channel shut down.
But how you know it was Abba and Preach?
Because it was right after that video, and it was that video that was reported. It got shut down.
What
it could be anybody though, Glenn. It could be. You can't tell.
Yeah, they've changed a lot of the rules, so you got to be careful now. Like they really out here bugging for real.
Either is Abba and Preach fan or an Abba and Preach. One of them did it. Like it's just too coincidental. It's really too. I mean, I see a lot of triggering shit, and if my channel has not got canceled before that, you know, for all the.
But you know what? But you know what, Glenn? That's the chance that you take when you make reaction videos and go after people on this bitch.
Absolutely. I just think it was funny. I was like, y'all could at least said something to me, like, "Hey, you asshole, stop saying that." You know, like I would have been cool with that, but like, whatever.
Okay, so really quickly before I pass the mic, because we are pressed for time, and I hate that Lily has to go. Thank you for the super chat, Don Levon. Don Levon says, "Well, in Los Angeles, when you talk to people that you cannot see and they answer you back, it's called schizophrenia."
Stop
Can I
it.
make one comment? Talking about back and forth for just a minute ago.
Don Levon.
So
I did have a question, if that's okay. I'm sorry, Glenn. I just wanted to ask this question. I'm gonna wrap it up with what I'm about to say.
Okay.
So, listening to you guys talk, it brought up a point that I wanted to touch on. I'm asking this question to you directly, Alfred, and you know, we can get together at another time for you to answer. It's more rhetorical because I find it interesting that when we discuss religion and we talk about God and we talk about Jesus or we talk about Lord or we say these particular things, my mind is my own, right? I can feed it like a machine. I can give it whatever it needs. Everything I need right here is on earth. Now, I don't know how we got here. I don't know how it began. All I know is somebody decided to write it down and decide that this is what it was. That's why they make the joke of his story. People lie and they exaggerate and they make things up to fit a particular narrative. It is not an attack on you personally, and I understand your wife is a pastor. So when knowing what
that's a good business, by the way.
When knowing that lifestyle, because I was asked, "Oh, you should preach and you should." I said no, because I like to drink and I like to sin, so it's not gonna happen.
Here.
Same here.
But listen, I like, you know, they say, you know, man was made in God's image, and I like men. I like to look at them, touch them, and a whole bunch of other things. So
hallelujah.
It's not, for me, it's not a one and done. Let me just say that. However, I also know that there are creatures around us, other species of us. There are the trees and the air and all these different things that come into play into our lives, and we take for granted because it's there, right? When we say, or to what you said before, I don't speak for God, but you do, because he speaks through you. That's what we're taught, correct? Right? Exactly. So it's like, if I pick up a Bible and say, okay, I'm going to start preaching to you, right? I'm going to say, and you know that this has been said, well, the word is coming through me. I'm giving you the word from which God is sending to me, and it's coming out through my voice. Because God hasn't made any noise. Because the last time anybody said that they heard God's voice, that was in the Bible. And some people say, oh, I heard God's voice. That's fine. That's your opinion, and that's your feeling, and that is what your perspective is. Because that's what we're arguing, perspective. Because your perspective is that I'm going to take this religion and utilize it in a way to help me make decisions in life, to assist in balance, because life is crazy. And sometimes we don't want to take on that decision that it's us. It's just you. Uh-oh. It's you making decisions with other human beings, and we go through life this way. This is why we have laws. This is why we have all the different things that are set up, the constructs that are set up. All that we were given from the Bible was 10 commandments. It didn't say nothing about the bank. It didn't say nothing about housing laws. It didn't say anything about the different things that take place in human beings. Science. We talk about the Bible and science. Well, science is a how do I put this? Because people like to use it in one way. It is just the description of theory. It is, if I take a leaf that has properties that can heal you, That's science, right? Because I've tried it out, I've tested it out. That's all it is. So when we talk about religion, when we talk about Islam and we talk about Buddhism, we talk about all of them, they are all man-made constructs. Now, if someone comes to you in your life, a being, an entity, that's your personal business. But I say this to anyone who believes that there is a higher power within the universe. I believe that we're all connected, even if we don't want to be. And none of us should say one is better than the other, but we do, because that is a human thing that we have to find balance and we have to find comfort even within chaos. So when I say that to you, I say that for this reason. Don't take it as a negative if the question is, are you speaking for God? Because that's what you're doing. You're speaking for the God that you pray to, because that's the only way you can experience it with other human beings. Unless you're telepathic, you got to speak it. And I land my plane there.
That's why I said, really quickly before Glenn jumps in, that's why I said I don't think he's as Christian as he thinks he is, because Christians have conviction and they will let you know straight up, I am speaking for God. God is speaking through me. But when I questioned him, are you speaking for God? He insists he's not, yet he keeps saying what God is doing, right? That was my point. That Christians have conviction. He's like, no, I ain't speaking for God. But yet you're telling me what he did for your marriage and the times that he saved you and the times that he meant, Christmas can be spent with Muslims. And I'm like, you are speaking for God. That's what I'm saying. Are you as Christian or as religious as you think you are? Probably not. It's a social club. And I have no problem with social clubs, just like I have no problem with Raiders fans, right? Social club again. But again, my opinion, who am I? Right, Glenn, chop.
All right. I don't take it him. What he's saying is he's speaking for God. The reason is,
okay, wait, let's not do something because now you're doing. Wait a minute. Now you're doing what he's doing with God. Wait a minute, but now you're doing what he's doing with God. Don't speak for that man. Speak for you, Glenn. Speak for you.
Okay.
I don't take I gotta roll out, you all.
Lily.
I don't take
I gotta be up at 5 a.m. and I'm not a nice person in the morning.
Okay, Lily, I love you. Right, see you tomorrow. Well, we got to revisit this.
Do it. Oh, yes. Yeah, we got to do it again. All right,
we'll do it again. But hopefully Alfred will come back.
Alfred, you're the bomb, Alfred. Come on back. We really enjoy it.
We need to have these conversations.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of this, we all gonna fucking get along anyway. But it's just an interesting conversation.
Very.
I'm gonna say my interpretation. I didn't take what he says. When he said what he said, I don't take that as him speaking for God. I take it as he is giving what he thinks happened. He thinks God did this for him. He thinks God saved his marriage. That's where his faith is. But nowhere is he saying he doesn't have the authority to speak on the behalf of God. He can only think what he could think is happening. Like if I think that the cop pulled me over earlier today because I was speeding, but really he pulled me over because I had my taillight out, that's a different thing. Well, he pulled me over because I was speeding. Just because I say that doesn't mean I'm speaking on behalf of that cop now, am I?
You are, though.
You are.
No, I'm not.
You literally gave the definition.
Wait.
You literally gave the definition of speaking to somebody. Do you realize that? You literally listen. You are literally no. But giving someone's opinion without asking them, without having proof, is speaking for them. You literally gave the definition of speaking for someone.
Not speaking for someone. If you give,
you are though.
If you giving,
am I bugging? Am I bugging?
No.
If I tell you, am I bugging?
Yes.
You literally spoke for the cop.
Let me finish.
You literally spoke for the cop.
I'm telling you my interpretation from my
That's you speaking. An interpretation is speaking for somebody.
I'm not speaking for him.
You are though.
I am telling you what, from my opinion, I think the cop pulled me over because I was speeding. But that's not what he pulled me over for. He pulled me over because I had a taillight out. Oh, that's not me speaking for him. That's me assuming this is what happened.
And Alfred is assuming,
That's what
God told him about his marriage and what God told him about Christmas.
That's what he believes, but he's not speaking for.
He is speaking for him. He literally said, God said Christmas was okay with this Muslim. No, that's not different. That's my point.
No, I'm saying
no, that's not different. That's my point.
If he's saying God, saved my marriage, that's his opinion of what he felt that would save his marriage.
He's speaking for what God. He is speaking for God.
No,
let me ask this question. Hold on. I gotta ask this question.
This is weird. This is just getting weird now.
Hold on.
It's just getting.
Glenn, I want to ask you this question. Yeah. I don't understand why y'all want to stand on this argument because it's really wordplay. Hold on, sir. Just give me a second. I'm riding down the street with you. I'm here with you. What I'm trying to understand is this. When you say, I'm not speaking for, or I'm not doing this and doing that, what I don't understand is why we are negating our ability to have critical thinking, to understand or make assumptions or judge different things, because that's what we're naturally supposed to do. Children do that, right? They judge. That's why they touch. That's why they taste. That's why they try to figure their world out by doing things that maybe in some instances we're like, no, that's dangerous. And then some things we're like, oh, that's so cute. Or however, as adults, we do the same thing. Religion in itself, it's like this. If you believe in Christianity or Catholicism, because both of those live in the same paradox, okay? They believe that there was a Mary, there's a Jesus, there's a God, there's a Holy Spirit. There's a lot of different pieces to it, okay? But these are humans giving us this information. There has not been a time within the last 100 years that the sky has opened up and there has been a voice that has come down and spoke for all humanity. The only way this information is passed on is from one human to another human. That's it. Now, whether the person hears anything in their head or hears anything around them, unless you hear it too, you don't know. And I'm not taking that away, but we cannot sit here and go, oh, well, he's not speaking for God and I'm not speaking for him. We do it all the time. We speak for other humans all the time. And that is the only way information gets from one person to another.
If you're speaking for somebody, it's like if Jen's like, hey, can you go tell them to move that car over there because that car is blocking my driveway? And I go, yeah, hey, can you go move the car, please? Because you're blocking her driveway. That's me speaking on her behalf. That's me speaking for her.
No, what you're doing is you're taking a piece of it and you're making it literal.
Yes, you have to be literal.
Depth, but no, there's depth to it, and that's the problem.
You can't, but Glenn,
you're talking
you
about
can't be
surface.
You can't be literal with God because none of you. No, you can't be literal because Alfred doesn't have proof. Listen, you don't have proof, and Alfred. Listen, you can't be literal. You can't be literal, and this is why you can't be literal because Alfred has zero proof that God told him to get married, and Alfred has zero proof that God said, hey, spend Christmas with the Muslim. You have tangible proof that Jen said, tell that guy to move his car. It's apples and oranges. It's apples and oranges.
Difference. What I'm trying to say is like, if you, that's being literal. Me saying, hey, Jen told me to go tell you to move this car. I'm speaking on your behalf. Right. Now, if he thinks God told him this, okay, that's what he thinks.
Right.
There's no proof that God told him that. He's not speaking on behalf of anybody.
He is.
No.
That's the very definition of speaking for someone. He is. How are you? It's 1 + 1 = 2. Are you, Glenn, are you bugging?
No, it's like you can't speak for somebody without them saying,
he is speaking for God. He literally said, God said, listen to me. He literally said, I don't know when you started listening, Glenn. He literally said, God said it was okay for me to spend Christmas with this Muslim. He literally said that. Literally said, God said, which is something that Christians do often. God said, God wants, God did, God said. They are literally giving God a
lot of those things
script.
are said in the Bible. Like a lot of those things that God said this in the Bible. Okay, God said this. This is what where it said. This is in this scripture right here. This is what he said. Okay, this is what a lot of times they reference that when like God said this. Okay, now going sleeping with Muslims or hanging out with Muslims. You know what? I didn't hear that.
Okay, and I don't have a problem with religious people repeating what was said in the Bible, right? Because people can reference that. Well, look, God said right here, Psalms, blah, blah, blah. But what people do is go out in the world and every fucking thing that happens to them, it's God said.
Yes, I know.
So where in the Bible can you point to me that God said, hang out with this Muslim or sleep with this Muslim? Where in the Bible can you tell me that God wanted you and this particular woman to get married? This particular woman, not marriage in general, but this particular woman. There is no evidence. What people do is embellish God to make it comfy for their life. Well, God didn't want me to get that job. Well, God took that man from my life. Well, God gave me that wife. It's weird.
I feel like God told me this. You know, like a lot of people, they feel like they're inspired that they hear. You know, I'm saying like from a literal sense. Even if he said God is telling me to tell you this. That's you telling me what you think God's telling you to say. You know, it's upon the receiver to whether or not he's going to accept it or not. Like, I don't accept that's from God. That don't sound like God to me. You know, like God wouldn't tell me to go jump off a plane for no apparent reason. You know, like, do you see what I'm saying? It's like,
but Glenn, that's an excellent point. You know why? Because a lot of people have killed in the name of God.
Absolutely.
A lot of people have molested children in the name of God, right?
Absolutely.
So what's the difference between a person saying God wanted me to touch this child or God wanted me to kill these people? What's the difference between that person who believes it? He believes God is speaking through him to kill these people en masse. What's the difference between that person and Alfred saying, well, God wanted me to marry this woman and God wanted me to hang out with the Muslims? What is the difference if they both believe that God said? That is the problem.
Here's the difference. Because if you look at, if you, from a biblical standpoint, if you look at the Bible, God has been consistent throughout the beginning, from the beginning of the Bible to the very end of the Bible. There's a consistency. Where's he not been consistent at, Chocolate?
You got to do a part 2. I cannot do this tonight. Y'all stripping. I have really been trying to be really cool, but y'all are full of it. That is some baloney. What are you talking about?
Okay,
have you read the Old Testament and the New Testament?
Yeah.
Have you read both of those?
The Bible is literally consistent. The Bible is literally a bunch of bloggers. It's literally a bunch of bloggers that got together and wrote some books.
Here we go. I'll give it to you this way.
What?
I am not, Jen and I, we're supposed to be married. We weren't allowed to own land. We had to be able to do these particular things with a husband. If we did not have a husband, we weren't able to function in this life. This was even before any laws or the 1950s or any of that. This was based on the Bible. Women were not allowed to do certain things. They were not allowed to be single. They weren't allowed to be just be. If it was, let's say, for instance, her and I would be considered witches. By the time it was all over, yes, I figured. It's like this.
Well,
how
again,
can but I will say this
back then. They did have
no,
laws
hold on, Glenn, and I'm gonna say this, and some men may get upset, and I hey, put it in your pocket. The Bible was not set up for women. So your perspective of it, it was not. No, it's not an opinion. What are you talking about?
That's absolutely your opinion.
Really, it's my opinion. So what's the Holy Trinity then? What's the setup? How's it supposed to go?
Okay.
Father, who comes first? Who comes first?
So the Father.
And who next?
The Son.
And who else?
The Holy Spirit.
Oh, where's the woman at? Because I thought Mary gave birth to Jesus, but she's not involved. Only in Catholicism, not in Christianity.
Yeah, because
in the way that it is. No.
She was just a vessel.
But see, that's what I'm talking about. That thought process. It has been ingrained in men in this country. Y'all believe that?
That's like
we are givers of life, sir. If you didn't,
we think less? No.
Yes, you do.
No,
yes.
We don't.
Yes, yes, you do.
No,
it is set up this way. What are you talking about?
Why do guys sacrifice their lives and for the safety of women?
Because they like coochie.
For the safety of women.
Because they like coochie. That's why they jumping out of windows right now, killing themselves because they can't get no coochie.
Glenn, stop the cap because you've spoken about women being submissive and fitting in your frame and not having a high body count so they could pair bond. Like
and
you look at women as less than men. Yes, you do, Glenn. Glenn, if you didn't look at women as less than, you wouldn't have a problem with them having a friendly vagina or a body count with their own fucking mind. Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
Okay, I'm gonna give you an example, Glenn. Hold on, Glenn. Hang with me. Hang with me.
Stop the cap.
So my name.
You don't even think a woman can connect with you if she slept with more than 3 people. Stop the cap. You look at women as less than men.
Who said that?
Okay, how many men can a woman sleep with to be worthy of your ring, of a wedding ring? How many?
That's dependent upon the individual.
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you, Glenn. How much of a body count? I'm asking you.
Okay, but here's the thing. I don't even ask.
Okay, what if a woman volunteered? Hey, Glenn, I slept with 50 men. Would you put a ring on her?
It's all about behavior.
Dang, that's a lot of.
Oh my God! Lies.
They both play a role.
Exactly. And you know why Alfred said. Exactly. You know why Alfred said that's a lot because they view women as less than.
Thank you for saying
that. He proved it. Women are less than because of religion. Thank you for being Exhibit A.
Thank you.
Exhibit A.
How is
because
that? How is things being different?
Stop, Glenn.
How is things being different?
Glenn.
Less than.
Glenn. Every right. Hold on. Every right that a woman has gotten. I will. I'm happy to explain it to you.
Okay.
Because listen, I'll say this. When this country was formed, it was built on biblical principle. The game was, let us leave Europe because we want religious freedom. But yet they come over here, pillage, rape, kill, steal, lie, and take from the indigenous to build what we now have. And hold on, they took their women. The story of Pocahontas, it's a whole lie. Hold on.
Every nation done. That's every nation.
I'm not talking about every nation. I live in America, sir. I'm not going to do that with you. We're not going to do that tonight. Stop.
So you thought America was going to be
different? It is dangerous right now for women. Do you understand that, sir? Do you have to go outside and worry about if somebody is going to attack you, snatch you up, take you somewhere, rape you, abuse you, or beat you to death?
No, but do you have to? Women.
That isn't true.
Not Are you in America?
Yeah. Well, huh? What?
Tristan, you stupid. Tristan, you dumb.
Where's the statistic?
But you see, you know what? We're gonna close soon. But you see how you see how Alfred jumped up. 50 is a lot of people because that's what his religion taught him. That is what his religion taught him to oppress.
But women. You know what, Jen? To your point, and I'm gonna let you wrap this up. Jen, if you have a part 2, please let me know because I'm gonna tell you this. It is absolutely disgusting that it is 2023 and men still have the fucking audacity to move their mouths to say is something about what a woman does with her coochie. It is none of your business at all. Y'all can stick your dicks in any hole. Hold on. It ain't.
No, I'm not even saying what you could do with your coochie.
No,
I just said if I don't want to touch it, I'm not going to touch it.
that's a lie. That's a lie, Alfred. Where do y'all live? On Mars?
Where
Do y'all not watch the news? You don't even have to watch the news. Just go to YouTube. I am disturbed. This is exactly why I'm single, baby. I love it every day. Jesus in the name. I'm a
this is why I'm not religious. This is why I'm not religious, because it's a way for men to make shit up as they go along.
You know what?
That's why I'm not religious. They'll make up. They just make shit up. God, this man sat up here. This man sat up here. This man sat up here and said God told him to spend Christmas with a Muslim.
We're just a vessel.
I can't.
So the woman who birthed. No, stop. You don't make babies, honey. You don't make babies.
Not talking, but we're all.
Yes, vessels. I am. No, you are not. A vessel for what? A vessel for what? What are men a vessel for? God. Because other than your seed, what you bringing? What you bringing? Because ain't nobody being protected. Ain't nothing being built. Ain't nothing going on, especially in the communities of color. I'm talking about it all, baby. I'm talking about right now, 2023, sir. In the last 10 years, what's been going on?
That you lived in was built by a man.
What? I'm sorry, say what?
The house that you live in was built by a man. The car that you drive was built by a man. The roads that you drive on.
And why was that? And why was that, Glenn?
Because man built it.
No, because men are afraid of having any other competition. Women were shut out. That's why we weren't allowed to do these particular jobs. Are you crazy? 1980, sir. 1983. On the book, I was still considered property. Oh, I'm building my own house, sir. I'm building my own house. As we speak, I am building my own house.
Until then, you're living in a house that a man built.
I don't care anything about that. All of this is man's construct, and he pushed women out.
Yes, men have more upper body strength.
Oh my God. There are plenty of strong ass women across the world that could whoop an ass real quick.
Women are both different, and we have to embrace our differences.
Oh no, you're not.
Listen, wait a minute. I'm fine with the difference. I'm fine with the differences. I also acknowledge that I'm fine with the differences. I also acknowledge that Serena Williams will whip any of the men up here. Whip them bad. Whip them bad.
Yeah.
In anything. She would fold you. She would fold you. She would fold you. She would fold you. Okay.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, Jen. I will push back on that because Serena Williams. Serena Williams admitted herself.
She might go somebody, but I'm not gonna let it happen. It's not gonna happen.
So wait a minute, hold on real quick.
Let me say this. Yes. We can. Oh shit! This is hilarious. This is hilarious.
I can't.
But you know, even with, egos aside, there are women that could do shit y'all can't do, and I mean every man on this panel. There are women on this planet. There are women on this planet that could do shit that y'all can't do. But yes, y'all do. You naturally have upper body strength. Some of y'all don't do shit with it, but you naturally have upper body strength. Yeah, great.
Some of it.
But
when I'll say this about the constructs of this country, women were pushed out. We weren't allowed to be in construction. We weren't allowed to be engineers. That's what I'm saying. If you know your history so much, and you telling me that women are so elevated, you must be kidding me.
Answer this question then. So it's been at least probably about since the last 30 years that women have been able to be in this field. Okay, so then why isn't there more women in these fields now? Why aren't women going? Why are there more women going into STEM? Why are more women going into architecture? Why we don't have? I have never seen a woman plumber in my fucking life.
You have to wait. You know what, Glenn? It's like
there are women.
It's like anything. No, let me just say that. Let me just say this. It's too early to be asking that. Come back in 500 years. It's going to be a hell of a lot of female plumbers. I know, but there's going to be a hell of
500 years old.
I know, but let's but okay. Listen, yes,
So
because
they
you
don't.
motherfuckers, yes, because you motherfuckers got a hell of a fucking head start. Let's not play stupid. Let's not play stupid. It's the same thing as why aren't there more black people in certain fields? Because white people got a fucking head start. It's
Exactly.
common
Like
sense.
what?
It is common
Come
sense.
on.
It is
Yeah.
common fucking
You
sense.
act like
But
Forrest
now,
Gump
but
went
I'll
through
say this.
bullshit.
But I'll say this. Now that women are saying to men, fuck off, I'm not getting married to you and I'm not having your children, you will see more women who are plumbers and executives and in the corporate. You will see that because women are changing. Those modern women y'all hate, come back in 500 years, okay? You're asking now. This
I'll
shit
be
is
dead
just
by then.
evolving. This is evolving now. You're
I'll
asking
give
too
you.
early.
But
You're
No,
asking
no,
too
no. I'll give
early.
you an example. Here you go, Glenn, and here for you as well, Alfred. I am a woman who is into agriculture. I'm also in manufacturing, and I'm also in tech. So I am building my own home. I have purchased my own piece of property. I am building a business to grow food for people that are
That's
poor
amazing.
and no, that's okay. All
I mean,
I'm
if you're
saying,
doing it for the poor,
it's
that's
not.
amazing. It's a
Hold
good deed.
on,
So why
please.
can't
May
people
I
compliment?
finish? No, I don't like compliments. What
Okay.
I'm saying is this. It is necessary because there are other people who are not in positions that I am in. It is for me as a human being, when we talk about religion, we talk about God, we talk about love, we talk about all of that. When I see people, when I go outside and I see people still laying on the streets, when I still think that there are 20 million babies going to sleep hungry every year in this country that's supposed to be the richest in the world, and you have children in communities all across this country who go to bed hungry. Yet and still, when I speak about these particular things, especially in these spaces, I am questioned because I'm a woman. Now, whether it's not you or Alfred or No Saint, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend like there aren't men who have tried to come at me crazy because I care about my community. I care about the safety of the women who are being trafficked. I care about the safety of the young boys, young black boys who are being trafficked. I don't hear anything about that. I don't hear about what is taking place on the outside of these spaces. What I hear is a lot of vitriol and a lot of bullshit and a lot of men who have nothing else to do. So if it is about being a better person, being a better human being, and you use religion as the key to that, then utilize it and assist the people that need assistance. There
So
are plenty of women out
let me
here
say this because
doing the
we're
damn
going.
thing.
You're
We're
you're
going
making a whole
off.
lot of assumptions there.
Hold on, because we're going off topic. Hold on.
Sorry, Jen.
Alfred, hold tight to what God told you in the last 5 minutes. I want to hear it. Okay. Adam Hearn and everybody who's yelling 500 years in the chat, okay? If it was so easy to get over oppression, and ooh, y'all not gonna like this next comment. If it was so easy to get over oppression and women have been oppressed since the beginning of fucking time, then nobody would be complaining about slavery and getting redlined at a bank. Okay? If it's so easy to get over oppression, like as soon as slavery was abolished, everybody should have been on creating another Black Wall Street. Right? If it's so easy to get over oppression, that is why I'm saying 500 fucking years. Okay? If it's so easy, if oppression does not leave a long lasting fucking residue, right? Right? If it doesn't leave residue, then every Black person should be building Black Wall Street right now. So obviously, oppression, and women have been oppressed due to the fucking Bible and the religious. You saw a man here jump up 50 people. He jumped up like Soldier Boy. That type of reaction is a form of oppression towards women. And here's the thing, y'all not gonna like this either. Alfred Ivy didn't marry a virgin. Okay? So whether his wife's body count is 1 or 2, somebody was up in that vagina. Same thing with Glenn.
Okay.
Whether his woman, you didn't marry a virgin. The woman you divorced, listen, the woman, let me finish. The woman you divorced wasn't a virgin. Somebody's dick was all up in that motherfucker. And you married her. And you married her.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if it's 1 or 50, there was a dick in there playing around. Your wife was catching skeet.
What's the point you're trying to make?
Catching skeet.
What are you trying to
The
make?
point I'm trying to make is that men and religion, this is the point I'm trying to make. Men and religion have oppressed women for centuries. So to ask something stupid like, why aren't there more women plumbers? Because men and religion have oppressed women. You're still oppressing women.
No, I'm not. I don't.
Yes, you are.
No.
Yes, you are.
How am I oppressing?
Because
anybody?
you've been up here. This is how you've been up here. If she don't fit into my frame, I don't want her.
Right.
That's a form of oppression. If she can't pair bond, I don't want her. That's a form of oppression. If she has a high body count, I don't want her. That's you oppressing women. That's you looking at women as less than you.
Let me ask this. So
as less than you. Did you think about a body count? Do you think about your body count?
Yeah.
Do you think about your body count? What do you think about it? I'm curious.
What
do you think about it?
I think it's a high number.
It's a high number, right? But do you think that do you think that a woman should be like, fuck him and his body count? That's nasty.
Yeah, they can. They have the right to.
Okay, Glenn. All right. All right. We gonna close. All right.
So am I supposed to just accept everybody?
Okay. No, it is stupid to accept everybody, but we all have a preference and preference. Yes, preferences.
Your standards oppress men. How about
preferences? Listen, preferences are fine. Preferences are fine. I'm saying that collectively men oppress women via religion. Via religion.
You said me specifically that I oppress women. Who do I oppress?
You oppress women who you put your thoughts and ideas on. That is you are perpetuating oppression.
I'm sharing my thoughts.
You are perpetuating oppression. So you are perpetuating oppression. Talking like that about women. How many streams have you been on talking about a man's body count, Glenn? How many streams have you been on? Thank you. That is my point.
What's the point?
That is my point. There are hundreds of channels on YouTube talking about oppressing women, not men.
We're talking about science.
We're not talking about science. It is opinion. It's not science.
That's exactly
it's not science. It is opinion. It's opinion, Glenn.
Now it's opinion.
It's opinion. It's opinion. It's opinion. It's not science. It's religion.
No,
it's religion.
Anything that you don't agree with is
it's religion. No, it's not about what's science? What's that? Let's hear this before we close. What's the science? No, you said it was science. Where's the science? Go ahead. Where's the science? Let me hear this.
Articles? Do you want the statistics?
No, just tell me. You're well versed. You're well versed. What's the science?
There is statistically proven that when it comes to pair bonding, people, especially women that have high body counts, have the brain receptors are not able to pair bond as easily as it used to if they were had longer term pair bonds.
Well, I'll say this because I know the articles. You've sent me articles before. Thank you. They're usually, very biased, misogynistic articles. You have not yet to send me an article. You have not yet to. They're written by women catering to motherfuckers who oppress women. I said that earlier. By pick-me's. By pick-me's. You know pick-me's are a thing, right? You know that pick-me's are a thing, right?
So it's like you just pointed out like anything that's against your thoughts.
That's not it, Glenn.
There's a lot of women who feel that way.
Are you saying pick-me's don't exist because it doesn't go along with what you believe?
I'm not saying that they don't exist.
Okay, so you're doing the same thing I'm doing.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Absolutely not.
You're doing the same thing I'm doing.
You are denying.
Okay, so what's to say? Okay, so what proof do you have that those articles that agree with what you're saying aren't written by pick-me's?
Who said they agree with what I'm saying?
No, they agree with your saying. They strengthen your argument. You just finished saying these articles are written by women. These articles. It's funny that you agree with pick-me's, but you don't agree with me because I'm not a pick-me. because I'm not a pick me.
When did I say I agree with anything?
You said the articles. Do you not agree with those articles?
I said this is the science. This is what the science.
It's not
says.
science. It's you have yet to send me a scientific study. You send me pick me articles. No, you didn't, Glenn. I checked your resources when you hit my DM. No, that's not science. You send me college studies of 100 women, probably white women, by the way. You usually send me articles, Glenn. You usually send me. Glenn, you usually send me articles of surveys of 100 women in some college, and I guarantee they were white women.
Science. That is a science study.
That's not science.
Yes,
it's a survey.
That's science.
How many people on this panel like avocado? That's not science.
That's a survey.
That's not science.
Weird. It tastes weird in my mouth. Well, I'm
it's
the
not
oddball
science. No, I don't like avocado either. I hate avocado.
Science.
So
it's not science.
No more statistics.
Oh,
nothing. So
it's not science.
No science, no whatsoever. Because as long as it doesn't hold your view.
And not only that, no, that's not the case. And not only that, but it depends.
Like, the only time I've heard you have an argument with science or facts or statistics is when they don't support your view.
That's not true. You do that, Glenn.
No, I don't.
That's not true. And here's the thing. No, here's the thing. You have not listened, Glenn. The fucking articles you sent me, I checked the resources. Usually some dick with a blog or some pick me that surveyed 100 white women in a college. That is not science. Send me something tangible. Send me something from a scientist, and then we can have this conversation.
University.
What did you send me?
I sent you the study from the university itself.
It was a survey. I just surveyed who likes avocado on this panel.
Conducted from the university. It was the pure.
Are you not hearing? Journal. Are you not hearing the words that are coming out of my mouth? You send me surveys. You send me dating site articles. That is what you send me.
I sent you that too, but I also sent you the peer reviewed journal.
Embustero.
So I mean, like.
I'm gonna say good night.
And Tristan,
when you have a part two.
Tristan is giving us the clock. Us the clock.
This is I'm all for it. And Glenn, if you all for statistics, I got you. I love statistics as well. Not all of them support every argument that I have, and I'm always down to go into it. So let's do it. GM want to do it. Let's do that.
We'll do it again. But be warned. Be warned. Glenn is only going to send you articles that are peer reviewed from a couple white women in a college. That is what Glenn is going to send you. That is what he sent me. That is what he sent me. He sent me 2 articles. He sent me 2 articles, and it was from 2 fucking tools. Okay. He sent me 2 articles, and it was from 2 fucking meatheads that had a website. He sent me 2 articles, and it was from 2 fucking meatheads that have a website. That is what he sent me.
They got off.
Good night. I love it, Jen. Good night, no say, Alfred, Glenn.
Alfred,
y'all are the best. Good night.
Good night, Chocolate. Good night. I didn't want to go over 2 hours, and we're almost on fucking 4. I hate all of you equally.
I've been waiting for a long time to say something.
You're a damn lie. No say, because I passed the mic to you like 10 times, and you were like, "I'm just listening."
No. I'm saying I just wanted to correct. Listen, there could have been a lot of things fact checked tonight, but the just for Alfred, Christianity is still the number 1 religion in the world. It's like 2.4 billion, and it's 31% of the world's population. Islam is second at 24.1, and then you have like irreligion 16%, Hinduism 15%, Buddhism 6%. Yeah, and Judaism is 0.2%. They're barely anything. Anyway, just wanted a little fact check. All right, no big deal though.
Thank you. We live in America, and things are different here. Religion is different here. How men view women here is different from other countries. Going back to before we close, going back to Ciara and Russell Wilson. Here, tits are a big deal. You go to Africa and tits are out everywhere, right? But in America, we feel tits are bad and ass is bad. But if you go to tribes, not only in Africa but other places, tits and ass, Brazil, tits and ass ain't no fucking thing. Everybody out there is naked. So it depends on what you believe and where you live and how you view women. At the end of the day, that is what it is regarding Russell Wilson and his wife. Okay, that's his wife. So
Yeah.
until Russell starts complaining.
Yeah, I think United States and Muslim countries are the most restrictive because you can go just about anywhere else and none of that's a big deal around the world. As far as like, breast on
they have
TV.
topless, they have like naked news reporters in the UK.
I've seen it.
Like that's
Christians
just like normal.
and
You're on the TV over there, and you're like, wow, those double D's are talking about sex porn.
Not the double D's. What'd you say, Alfred?
I said that Christians and atheists getting along, saying that we all agree that if Russell ain't got no problem with Ciara, I ain't either.
At all. Like listen,
I don't have a problem.
At all. So I got one question before we leave.
That man,
huh? I have one question before we leave, right? Because it does. First of all, I appreciate all of your opinions. Okay. Lots of love for all of you because you come up and you cam up and you show your face and you say it with your chest, even if I think you're crazy, and vice versa. Right? Vice versa. You still come and show your ass. And I love when people show you their ass here on the panel. Now, I will say this. I really do truly, sincerely appreciate you all. A lot of times these debates get heated and people run and never come back and then talk shit. All right. I would appreciate it if all you gentlemen came back and said your piece with stats, articles, whatever it is. I appreciate you. I would love for you to come back. A lot of people run and then don't come back. It's like, oh, it was too hot there, or I can't. I'm hoping you guys come back. This was amazing. I still have respect for all of you. And what I like showing on the block is that we can disagree vehemently, but we would all still look out for each other in a fucking emergency. Okay? I know I'm like that. Hope you guys are like that. So if you have any final parting words.
Tolerant. We're trying to show the world this is the definition of tolerance right here. Like seriously, not that whole like, oh, if you don't agree with me, you're intolerant. Tolerance means to agree to disagree. I don't have to agree with everybody on the panel. They don't have to agree with me, and I don't expect them to. Okay? But it's the fact that we have our different views. One, and we're never really opposing or putting on. Nobody's trying to. I've never even tried to preach to Jen about Jesus ever. I respect her position. I respect it. I always talk about from my worldview. For me, I don't ever try to push it on to anybody on here. I just share my world, and they do the same thing with me. Now, there's times where they overlap, and we're on the same bridge, and there's times we're on like two opposite sides of the world. And it's okay, but that's what tolerance looks like. And in this soft ass snowflake world where nobody can be tolerant, you can't have differences and be cool. It's like, it's sad.
Yeah, agree. Any last words, darlings?
We're done.
I got one thing. I wish Chocolate was still here. Yeah, as a general matter, I don't really think that men, I'm gonna call it men, modern men, have any negative energy towards women. And like Glenn said, hey, if you want to go into plumbing, go into plumbing. I ain't finna let Serena kick
I don't agree with that part. I will tell you, there's a lot
I
of guys that are
I ain't plumbing nothing. I ain't plumbing a damn thing. I'm gonna call a man to plumb.
It ain't that hard of a job, It's dirty, but it ain't a hard job. So I mean, unless you.
I appreciate men for what they do.
And we appreciate women for what y'all do. And if the overlap happens, like even with Chocolate talking about want to do a farm and everything. Hey, I don't know anybody who has any negative energy towards a woman doing it. I think the only negative that I would ever say, and this is the thing that I always say as a man, hey man, if a woman doing her is beautiful. A woman doing her because a man can't or ain't or she don't want. that's extra. Just go do you. Go do you and find your other person that in the universe that makes you happy. And if it's another woman, if it's a guy from another country, go do your thing. But I don't know too many men running around here saying I'm gonna move to an island where there are no women. Like, men don't say that. That's a woman thing. And I'm thinking like, hey, if the universe says that you don't want to be with somebody, then just don't. But if you do, go find your person and go be happy. But I don't knock anybody's hustle. Whatever you got, go do it, be happy. But that's my liberal side of, my Christian liberal light side. I think that's what it is. Like, what do you say? I'm not a true Christian. I don't really know what the heck that means.
Yeah, you're Christian light. You're Christian light.
Right. I'm like, hey man.
Like Bud Light. Like Bud Light.
I don't spend my time trying to judge folk about what it is.
I mean, but it works. It works. You know what I'm saying? Whatever works for you at the end of the day. No Saint, you got anything, or is Tristan gonna take us out?
For Tristan, I'm dead.
All I know is I just got adopted. I'm adopted.
You got adopted?
Look at the chat. Tristan adopted me, traded me for Kanye.
We've been adopted, you Glenn, a long time ago.
It's public now.
It's official.
It's official.
Yo, Adam Hearn, fuck off. Fuck off, Adam Hearn. Fuck off. I hate all of you.
I missed that. I missed the Chris Rock special, but I watched the special after you guys aired it because I didn't see it yet because I was busy working. So I don't even know where you guys stand on it, but man, I gotta watch it. What you guys said on it because I thought that shit was hilarious.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was funny,
and I thought like it was a good timing for him to drop do his little.
Fuck yeah! Right before the Oscars, man. Yeah. Fucking smart.
He's been quiet about it for a whole year. He's been waiting. He's been patiently waiting. Yeah. That was strategic.
As fuck. Strategic as fuck. Yeah. All right, guys. Hope you come back. I'm gonna hit you all up when we do part 2. You better come back.
I'm probably gonna need like a week. Need a week. Like, I'm gonna need a week, Jen. About like a week from now, before we could do it. I'm like super swamped.
No, definitely. Let me know, man. I mean, listen, social media is on a loop, so we could come back to it whenever. And people will be new in the audience and in the chat. Alfred, I appreciated the hair picking too. I should have put you on the big screen. Alfred was back there like, fuck this crazy motherfucker. I'm chilling. Me and I appreciate the hair picking. Tristan, take us out, por favor. Woo! This was a night, huh?
Oh my God. I come back and it's chaos, like always. It's always chaos.
It's the block, man. It's the block.
But after my engagement, I realized I did some research, and Jen is kind of famous in El Salvador. I didn't know that.
Tristan, right? You trying to get cut before we close.
Right. No, but listen to me, right? William Shakespeare had another book I didn't know about.
Did he?
And this is what he said. Put me on the big screen.
All right, here we go. Tristan trying to get cut.
Though she be but little, she is fierce. I love you all, classes.
Good night.
Good night, guys. Don't forget to support this show, Cash App on the Block with Jen. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart to all the gentlemen that were brave enough to come up here, show their face, and say it with their chest. That is what On the Block with Jen is about. And if you want to be on the panel and rebut, contradict, okay, and argue, okay, because we argue up here. Don't forget, I always drop the link every single time. I am On the Block with Jen on all social media platforms, On the Block with Jen at Gmail. If you want to collab or hit me up about a show, past or present or future, On the Block with Jen at Gmail. And on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, YouTube right here. So thank you guys. Don't forget to leave comments in the comment section. That helps me with the algorithm as well. And support these guys, right? Their names were on the screen all night. If you like someone on the panel, you want to support their channel, please just rewind really quickly, see who they are, and support, okay? We all support each other here. All right, guys, good night. Thank you so much for being here. Good night. What a night. You only gonna get this on the block. All right, guys. Good night.